Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome live on this Saturday morning, November 27th, 2021. I'm Dave Lefkowitz, and this is the 826th edition of our broadcast. Oops, give me low. Always does this. Shut up, Dave. There we go. 826th edition of our little broadcast, which is called Dave's Gone By. We started, oh my gosh, almost 20 years ago, doing a mix of humor and talk and music and culture. Started on terrestrial radio, did it on college radio, did it on podcast radio format, then turned to video, which we've been doing for about 4 years, and here we are. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do look good in black. The absence of color, I think, compliments me. How are you doing? That is my darling and adorable wife hitting the whistle button. How are you doing, honey? I know. I mean, it's been a week in the news, hasn't it? I mean, didn't even know what to talk about first because we have so much to do in the show proper, but we always start the program improper with just me yakking about things. And so let me tell you about the show proper, the show that you're going to see that goes from 9 until...
Talk about Thanksgiving, too. You want to talk about that you couldn't get the right thing.
Thank you for reminding me. Thanksgiving, yeah.
The name of Dave.
The name of Dave?
Too many Daves.
Too many Daves. I've already forgotten what that is in reference to.
Took your food.
Oh, yes! So I want to talk about that. Oh my God, so much. Maybe I'll get to you-know-what later. Actually, we will get to you-know-what later in the show.
You gotta talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, that is so...
Or the person in the dungeon.
Because when we do our Today Yesterday trivia quiz, as generally we are, we'll be joined by theater critics Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, as well as our special guest in the Daverhood today. They're all theater people, so they'll all be in mourning, as I am, over the loss. Of course you've heard, but Stephen Sondheim died yesterday at the age of 91. And, the one thing I do want to say, even before we actually talk about Sondheim, is it was one of those deaths that I was preparing myself for years. It was how you like to get into the emotions that you're going to have to kind of pre-feel them and wallow. Pre-grief, really. And knowing, okay, Sondheim is not, he was in a lot better shape, or at least seemed to be, than anybody had any right to think he was for years. Everybody thought, he's not well. He had that fall in 2020, and he hasn't looked good, as it were. He had that messed up eye for a decade or so. So there was always that sense, and yet, what was it, in September, he was on Colbert, looking fine, sounding fine, completely all there mentally. So whatever he had said a few years ago about everything going downhill after he was something like in his mid-80s, he said,
a lot of people, David, are changing their cover photos.
Yeah, on Facebook, everybody's changing their things to Sondheim quotes and Sondheim pictures. So I knew that the loss of Sondheim was going to rock me, as it does anybody who loves musical theater, or even doesn't love musical theater, but loves, what Sondheim has brought to the universe. So there was always that sense about how much am I going to cry, how much am I going to be broken, how much am I going to be surprisingly okay. And so went through that. So
when someone said, I declare a national day of mourning, everyone wear a hat on Sunday.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Does he wear a hat? Yeah.
Everyone wear a hat is a reference to, well, two things. It's to finishing a hat, and also Elaine Stritch's line, does anyone still wear a hat? And then on Sunday, of course, from Sunday in the Park. But and also there was that sense that if this was going to happen, and this is how self-involved I am, back when this show was for almost a decade on college radio, and I was doing this program on Saturday mornings, still am, as a radio show on college, I would play music. Part of the program, half the program was actually segues. I'd play a lot of Dylan music. I would play, themed things. And so I thought, okay, and I was I ran the radio station for about 2-3 years on and off, and then I was kind of at a certain point I was the only person at the radio station. So if I felt like it, right, back in the day, I could have gotten, heard the news yesterday about Sondheim passing, gotten my clothes on, jogged over to the radio station, which was literally, a few blocks from where we were living. Just grabbed any CDs back before we sold all our CDs. Wouldn't even bother with record albums or whatever, and just sat there from 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening from when I found until maybe 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning until I couldn't do anymore. And just been on the air, playing a song, taking phone calls from anybody who would have called in, crying, announcing.
Are you going to do like a tribute show with all the critic friends?
I don't know. I'm just, this is it. Kinda. But
you have a lot of critic friends, David, so many.
Yeah. And they're all going to be real busy this week and posting and writing and doing, because you don't even know. And when it actually happened, yesterday, when I heard the news, there was that moment of like, sort of like when my dad died a few months ago. I was like, okay, it happened. You don't suddenly you don't immediately go like, oh, it wasn't like that. Maybe because he was 91 and presumably died of natural causes. Maybe it was because I prepared myself, or maybe because that's not how tragic news necessarily works. I mean, we were watching a video yesterday of some family. They were in a pancake restaurant, and her kid accidentally starts choking on a pancake, eats a piece of pancake too much. And the kid's, 2 years old?
No, the kid's like a baby less than
a little bit, like a 6-month-old. Yeah. And immediately the mother starts screaming and crying and panicking and then trying to compress. And then they get this guy, just one of these miracle things, a guy who happens to have an object in his car that sucks food out of babies. They make this.
For anybody, yeah.
Well, anybody, yeah. But look, he's never used it. He's had it in his car for 5 years for no reason, But he like, this big brawling fireman kind of guy. He leaves the restaurant, comes back in, holding this thing, and he goes, "Give me a baby." Puts it on the table, and goes, "Fa-dump, pa, fa-dump." It's a vacuum. And it sucks the pancake out of the baby's throat. And meanwhile, all these people are screaming and panicking and whatever, and then the kid turns out to be just fine. Except probably not the brightest kid in the world if he's eating enormous bits of pancake at that age. So, but, that particular moment, the woman completely lost it, right? Meanwhile, there's this news of the single greatest theater person in modern history dies. The man who was given more...
You can see West Side Hanukkah story, that's coming up.
Yeah.
That sharks, latkes, souvenir.
So... but that initial moment, and then later on, it isn't so much him. It's when you think of a song lyric or a song or the feeling that you had going to see a West Side Story, going to see Sunday in the Park with George, going to hear the songs in company. That's what, at least for me, that's what eventually gets to you, right? And so, but that's what I miss. And because I can't really play music here. I can't just do a 3-hour.
Can't you sing it?
Because of copyright issues and the way Facebook and YouTube.
Sing your favorite song.
I'm not going to say maybe later. If I sing my favorite Sondheim songs, I'll start crying. I don't want to freaking do that.
Well, then sing in a funny way.
Sing in a funny way. I mean, we can get into why he was the greatest genius that musical theater has ever known. And I do include Richard Rodgers in that. And I do include Frank Lesser and Oscar Hammerstein. There was no one, and Irving Berlin. He was the, people were saying, oh, he's up there with the giants. No, he is the giant, and he's holding court with these other giants. Okay, he was. And so the disappointment for me, and I always thought I would do it with like just a couple of people. If I was still on like terrestrial or podcast radio, not so much affected by ASCAP and BMI rules and things. I would be playing, if Dylan died, obviously I would do like 24 hours of just not leaving the console except to pee. And just playing every possible Bob Dylan song. Probably do it if McCartney, McCartney died because of the Beatles. I don't know if there's that many other people. I mean, if Tom Waits dropped dead, I would probably wait until my regular show and then just do a longer show and play 4 or 5 hours of Tom Waits music. As opposed to if I heard Tom Waits die at 11 o'clock at night, I'd have to be on the air at midnight, playing Waits music. So maybe I would. Maybe I would. There's not that many folks, or if Neil Young passed away, I would want to do like an 8-hour Neil Young special and so
That
forth.
would be one song.
That's right. Joyce said, that would just be one song. But so there was that. So there's this already morning hangover thing of mourning a bit yesterday, grieving a bit, and then today, already 12 or 15 hours later, being here, not being able to play Sondheim songs, and not wanting to break down, but also wanting to convey just how bereft the world should be. Not just me, not just a couple of theater friends who are like, oh my God, Sondheim, but an understanding of, like, someone said it's like Converse losing the guy who created Converse. It's
maybe like Nike, the guy who did this.
Right, the guy who did the Nike swoosh died. It's like, ah. So there's that. I'll talk about all that with Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, very estimable theater critic, former head of the drama desk. I'm sure they have met Sondheim. I think I met him once or twice. I never got to interview him. Had always wanted to for this show, but I always thought, you know what, he's so famous and big, and so, and he's always being interviewed. So it wasn't a sense of his being ignored or having other stuff to say that he never said. One of the great things about his life over the past 20 years is that he's not someone who kind of slipped into obscurity and nobody, or he was great in his day, but who thinks of him? Sondheim had that moment in the 1980s and 90s when he kind of fell out of favor, and his shows weren't doing that well, and people were like,
Did
oh.
you do one thing about a roller disco?
No, that was Andrew Lloyd Webber. But by the 20s, when he wasn't really writing much anymore, he had one new musical in the past 20 years, but he spent so much time being interviewed or receiving awards. It was like, if it was a Thursday, Sondheim was getting some other accolade, some recognition, some award, most of which he tried to show up for, or at least be gracious about, because he apparently was a tremendously nice and gracious man. So that's one of the great things. This is not somebody who, he died. This is someone who in his lifetime realized and was shown day after day just how much he was loved and appreciated. I think we all remember us theater people who, when they did his birthday, when he was 90, and it was still already the pandemic, and all these actors and singers got together and did like this 2-hour streamcast of them singing songs to him via the interwebs, because they knew how many more times would they get to do this to him. We were all hoping that he'd be like Irving Berlin. Berlin lived, I think, till 101, maybe even 103. I'd have to Google to find out. But and people on Christmas Eve, ironically, since of course Irving Berlin was a Jew from the old school, but Christmas they come serenade him and sing White Christmas outside the window of his New York apartment. He'd look down and he'd kind of wave. It was like 97, and it'd still be there, and he'd go, thank you, or by then he'd be in his bed, but they know he'd be there, and he'd hear it, and be grateful, which was lovely. I mean, it was Irving freaking Berlin. But he lived that long. There was no reason not to hope that Sondheim would be with us a bit longer. He said, and it made us all kind of sad and disappointed, because he had been working for about 5 years, or more, with playwright David Ives on a new musical. I mean, and being so typically Sondheim, he was adapting a movie, but it's not like he was adapting Mrs. fucking Doubtfire or adapting Tootsie, or some big Hollywood sister act kind of. No, they were trying to adapt, and maybe they should have adapted Mrs. Doubtfire, two Louis Buñuel films. The Exterminating Angel and one of the 1970s ones with all the people who can't finish a meal because stuff happens. They sit down for a meal and at no point are they actually able to eat. It's a pretty great film. Anyway, so they want to adapt this into a musical. And they're working on it, and they're working on it. Finally, about 2 years ago, there was people were like, is anything happening with this thing? And then news came, was like, nah, it's kind of a dead project. And so we're like, okay, Sondheim's old, he's probably not in the best of health, he's given up, he's not writing any more music, he doesn't have to write any more music. And then he goes on Colbert in September, 2 months ago, looking fine, as I said, sounding fine, and saying, yeah, no, I'm working on a new project and we're hoping to get it up next year.
Who was he working with?
I imagine it's still David Ives. I do not know. I'm not sure. Maybe they're still working on the Buñuel project, but they pivoted, or maybe they went to something completely else. But that was. If you were a theater person, even if it was terrible, they'd probably get one or two good songs out of it.
Everything in the Facebook is all about the son.
Yeah. Who else would want to ask the husband? He leaves behind the husband who was 48 years his junior, right? You want to ask him, well, what was the last song that he finished? What's the last unfinished stanza or piece of music that he was working on? It's just, as many zillions of questions as Sondheim answered over the past 20, 30 years, because he was very giving and very open and went through bunches of interviews, there's always going to be more questions that now can't be answered, because he's gone. But anywho, so that was, as I said, this was the week that was. You had a week that started with Rittenhouse, right? Then the other verdict, the Arbery verdict, then just did 5 days ago, 10 days ago, hon. Had you heard of Omicron? Did you even know what fucking Omicron?
Isn't it a watch?
Right, Omicron watch. Yeah, now you know what it is? It's the variant that's going to shut all the borders of the world for another couple of months. Omicron. Days ago. No one knew. Well, scientists knew about this. What the? 220 is ending in a hell of a way, isn't it, folks? Really. Anywho, I'll tell you a little bit more about this episode of the program, and then I'll talk about Thanksgiving. Oh, and what a fun Thanksgiving it was. But we are going to do our Today Yesterday trivia quiz, as I mentioned, with Leslie and David, and our special guest in the Daverhood. Let me tilt this down just a little bit more. There we go. Our very special guest in the Daverhood. She is an actress, and I know this for a fact that she's an actress because she was in my play. Last week, I was telling you about my little bitty show, my 2 or 3 minute long comedy, a solo comedy called 3%. Doesn't that seem like months ago that happened now?
It seems a while ago because it was late at night and we watched it and it was fun and I thought she killed it. She nailed it. She did such an excellent job.
She completely rocked it. So we did this show. I wrote this play as part of a contest, I guess, if you will, to the Playground Experiment. That's the name of the theater company, the Playground Experiment. And every year, for the past couple of years, they've had a festival called Faces of America. And the whole idea is short plays about the whole diversity of America, certainly in terms of race and ethnicity and skin color, but age too, and location too. Just this whole panoply of the full American spectrum of people. And they wanted short... People who need people. So they wanted 2 minute monologues. That was a couple of rules in the plays. They had to be no longer than 2 or a little bit over 2 minutes, but not like 3. Okay, it was short. Also, each play had to have the word...
5 minutes, no?
No, 2 minutes each. Each play had to have the word change somewhere in it.
What was your word change?
It was in there somewhere. I don't really even remember. If you go into the script and you look, because they say when you're submitting, if the word change isn't in there, it's automatically disqualified. So you have to put that word in your play.
Did you thank the selection committee?
I don't know if I did. I think I thanked the director and I thanked the actress, of course.
The director and actress, yeah, but even the selection committee, they said there were so many.
There were 300 entries.
Yeah, that's a lot. And they had how many?
25.
Whoa.
Yeah. So whatever percentage 25 is of, do the math. Literally, my algebra math, 25 is what percent of 300?
Divided by 300.
So it's a quarter in thirds. What is a third of a quarter? So I don't know,
They took 8% of plays, 8.3.
8%. I was in that 8. I wrote a play called 3%.
Yeah, you were less than. Yeah. But tell them the funniest part, I thought.
What was the funniest part?
The funniest part to me was that your play was called 3%, and what number was your play?
Oh, they put it third. I don't know if that was coincidental.
It must have been psychological. Like, where do we put it? It's got the number 3. I mean, I think, isn't that funny?
Yeah. I don't know if that was random in the selection of how they put the plays, or if, number 3 is like a pretty cool slot, if you're in baseball.
It was actually perfect, because 1 is warming up, 2 they're getting into it, 3 they're ready to watch.
Yeah, and 3 you want to, knock one out of the park. And if I didn't, with my writing, certainly director Darpan Joshi and my actress.
You did it not too long ago, you said. I mean, you didn't have a lot of prep time.
No, well, I mean, it's a 2-minute piece, and then they were just working on it, and I spoke with the director 2 weeks ago on the phone during lunch for like 5 minutes, just to ask him, just to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Just to make sure he knows what I was wanting to get out of the show, I know what he wanted to get out of the show.
Vision? What was your...
Well, and I expected that the vision would be a little more comic and mocking than I had in mind. Because the play, let me explain what 3% if you haven't seen it. And at a certain point, it may be on YouTube already. I don't know if they've saved it yet, but
I can look.
But what I'll do is when the play is there up on YouTube, they'll have the whole evening. I'll chop it out and I'll put it on the website and everybody can watch my show. So, they...
Where should I... I'm sorry.
It's the playground experiment. But the thing is that, in terms of the same page, the piece is a monologue for a young woman. She's out of college. She's trying to get a job, a gig, or maybe a fellowship. It's not 100%
No, it's a
clear.
job.
What?
It's a job.
It's a job. So she is in this job interview. She's talking to this unseen person and unheard, although she hears him. So there's a conversation going on, but we hear only one side of it.
It's excellent.
Thank you. And the point is that she filled in her application that she is, at least on some level, Latin or Hispanic. Right? Except she is the most, white, privileged, in quotes. I had in the thing that she's blonde in the middle of it. The actress is not blonde, but that she is very obviously.
Did you say blonde or you just said Midwest?
In my script, well, maybe Midwestern. Well, what does Midwestern mean to you?
Midwestern to me means like not either of the coasts.
Well, corn-fed,
what happened to my
white American, completely non-ethnic-y person, and yet so she's being sort of grilled. What?
They have something. They have a guy talking.
So she's being grilled on, her filling this out in this way, and the guy is asking her, "Well, you filled in Hispanic. I don't really see it." And she's trying to backtrack and backpedal, and then it turns out that she did the 23andMe thing. She is Hispanic.
I don't
3%.
Think they have it posted yet.
Oh, then they probably haven't. They'll probably do it after the holiday. But that's the joke of it. That in one level, one of the things I'm trying to say is that we're all mutts, we're all polyglots, unless we're like Puritans from the old school who can trace our lineage back before King George or way back. We're all mutts. And for someone to say, my wife can call herself Italian because you have Tyrolean ancestry and Austrian ancestry. You can also call yourself Hispanic because you have a little bit of that.
Yeah, but then people argue that it's so long ago and it's Spanish and Portuguese, right?
Right.
But I also have Balkan. I didn't know where the Balkan comes from.
Yeah.
And I have some Jewish.
Yeah, the little teeny percent of it. So, Joy, aside from the fact that she is or converted to Judaism when we married, but you didn't have to, because you were already Jewish somewhere in your family. If you had a woman Jew in your family.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I think it might have been my grandmother because they can't test my dad's DNA, which I think is crazy.
That's great. Yes.
Like, I mean, like, what is up with that?
But with me, I'm 99, literally 99% Ashkenazic Jew. There's nothing in there except Polish, Russian Cossacks and peasants and slaves of Jewish Western European ancestry, right? Or Eastern too. So
I'm gonna put the link to the.
Yeah, put the link to the playground. So anyway, but my. Even though it's a very silly comedy, it's kind of fun, and I'm poking fun at this woman, there's also underlying questions of, okay, and she's asking this question of like, so okay, I don't count as Hispanic because I read white and I wasn't raised in that culture and so forth. What percentage would make me legitimate? 33%? 60%?
She's like, I know words like si and comprende. She's like, I don't eat empanada because I'm a runner. I can't get fat, and like all this, like, but her knowledge of the culture is so superficial.
Yeah,
like that's the beautiful part. It's like, what's your knowledge of the culture? It's like eating at Taco Bell, like this kind of like.
She's trying to get the
comprende, like this kind of like it's like a clueless version. Of
right. She is
I'm going
to
put the link to the anthology. Yeah. You can purchase the anthologies for them.
So the director, he latches on to this idea of just how appropriating she is, of just how ridiculous she is, claiming
Trevor said bless you this morning.
Well, bless him back.
I gave him a heart.
This is Trevor from WGBB. How she is trying to appropriate this culture and how ridiculous that is, and yes, this anomalous testing that she did that 3 generations back, there might have been someone with Hispanic ancestry, which is not the same as being or identifying with Hispano-American or Latinx culture, whatever. And I'm agreeing with that the play, obviously, you can play it that way, that it easily mocks her, but there's also legitimate questions of, okay, what if one parent were Hispanic and one parent were completely like white, American, Jewish, Italian, middle class, and sort of like, well, what counts? What counts more?
I think the way she asks it is also
the way she is the play mocks her, but I think I was worried about that the play would just be perceived, and it is perceived by people who are far left as, oh, stupid girl, culturally appropriating girl, but the questions in the play are deeper than that, I think. Read the play yourselves. It's called 3%, and it's on my website, davelefkowitz.org.
I think it also questions this idea, because so sociologists and people believe race is constructed, right? That we construct race. But then the issue that you raise is when somebody from a dominant group wants to take on the role of a non-dominant group, it's problematic because the person in the non-dominant group can't take on the role of the dominant group.
Generally not. Well, I mean, certain cultures can, of course, pass. Blacks can't necessarily pass as white, but Hispanics can pass. Some of them. It depends. Jews, Jews are as much a minority as anybody else. But if you look at Gwyneth Paltrow in a movie, it's sort of like, oh, she's not Jewish. She what? I think there's a lot more to unpack than even in the 2 minutes of the play. But then again, I'm the author. I'm biased. I think it's genius. It's called 3%. Read it at davelefkowitz.org. We'll get the video up as soon as we can. But there's basically...
I put the link to the book so people can purchase it for $15. It's all 25. I don't know what else is in the book.
What else would be in the book?
I don't know.
But the problem is it'd be only like a 25-page book because the plays are so short. Maybe a 50-page book.
This book contains the monologue. We asked, it says here, we asked artists from around the country to send in their monologues. We gave them 3 rules. 1, use the theme Faces of America. Keep it under 2 minutes. It must include the word change. No.
What?
Over 325 monologues were sent to us.
Cool. So I'm even...
And they selected
7%, yeah. I'm something like 7% out of the number of people who submitted.
It's 50 pages, so they put stuff in. I can't read.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
Well. Anyway, you can buy.
I linked to it in the chat.
Yeah.
In the chat, in the comments.
In the Facebook that Joyce is doing right now, you can click the link and actually buy the book of all the monologues, because some were very serious and others were fun and silly. Some were poignant. I mean, a lot of them were really very good. Almost all of them were really well acted too. So, if you want just the book, a cool book of monologues, let's say you're an actor person or you're the parent of someone who wants to be and is looking for short monologues to do on auditions, you can find some really good ones there. So get the book. It's the 3rd annual Faces of America monologue contest. It comes from the Playground Experiment is the theater company that does it. Faces of America is the festival. The book is now it's already available because the plays were ready, and ready to publish even before they did the event last week. And then, of course, as I keep saying, I will get the video up on here as fast as I can once that is made available. But anyway, yeah, 3%. What's so funny?
I love Trevor. Trevor said, "Hey, David, how come I don't see your beautiful wife on Facebook?"
But I have yet to mention the actress. I've talked about the director, Darpan Joshi, nice guy, and he did a lovely... I mean, you can tell the piece when you see it was directed. It wasn't just like actor doing it. You can tell he worked with her.
I'll keep looking for you, honey.
But the woman's name, the actress's name, is Mischa Dani Goodman.
She nailed it.
She absolutely... Because when I first saw her, when she first came on camp, because I had not seen her, I didn't know...
They just have the promo clips.
Yeah, who was going to do it. And then I see her, and before, just as she's about to start talking, live, watching with everybody else, I'm like, no. Why did they pick her? I wanted someone blonde and very obviously hegemonic, Christian American, Midwestern breadbasket, Gwyneth Paltrow looking, Gabby Petito looking girl. And you get me someone who really could be Hispanic or seriously Jewish or even partially non-white. And if this girl looks Hispanic, that sort of throws the whole thing off. It becomes like, what? And yet...
I'm in the new play exchange, David. Give me the URL for your stuff. DavidLefkowitz.com?
DavidLefkowitz.com should work. If it doesn't go to DavidLefkowitz.org. Because there's another David Lefkowitz who has a website. But anyway, this as soon as she started talking, I sat back and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a moment. She may just nail this. And Joyce saw her and she said, oh, she doesn't look Hispanic at all. So
I think she's perfect. I thought
she
perfect.
Turned out to be
She played
perfect.
It like that girl from Clueless.
Yes. Yeah. And she was marvelous. Her name is Mischa Dani Goodman. And so, to reward her, because God knows who gets paid for these things, but to reward her for her excellent work, for being, I think, among the funniest of the monologues and the best performers of the whole night, and for doing such a great job, she's going to be on the program. She will be our guest in about 10 minutes, talking to Rabbi Sal Solomon, not just about my play, but also about the movie, a short film that she is both starring in and executive produced called Unbridled, that I believe is finished and is now in that submission to festivals mode and trying to get noticed mode and stuff. So again, her name is Mischa Dani Goodman. She is our guest in the Daverhood. She'll be talking to Rabbi Sal. She'll be playing the trivia quiz with David Sheward and Leslie Hoban Blake. So that'll be great fun. We'll have Greeley Crimes and Old Times, which is where we go.
I can only find it on the Play Exchange.
You can't find my... Just go to...
It doesn't come up with... Give me another name.
Well, DaveLefkowitz.org.
It doesn't come up. It comes up with recipes.
Recipes?
Yeah.
Go to my website and use the search box. Because if this isn't working, then I've got a real problem.
I think I did David.
Well, David should work also.
Oh, no, Dave. No,
yeah.
David.
And then click on my big brown name.
Yes, I'm clicking on your big brown name.
And now
you
just...
did a beautiful job. Okay,
Yeah.
what is that?
And use the old searcheroo.
I don't want to search.
Okay. What else are we doing on the program? We have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. I just mentioned that. we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Now, because I am a writer, and we did live in Colorado for a bunch of years, I took it into my head, this little brainy thing here, to write a poem about as many places in Colorado as I could possibly come up with. The obvious ones that are easy to rhyme. Of course, there's Vail, and there's None places, but also obscure places, sometimes very difficult to rhyme places in Colorado.
I put it in there, honey.
Great, thank you. And every week, I share another poem, a little 5-line poem that is raunchy and disgusting and horrible about these places in Colorado. And this time, we go to Glendevey, Colorado, for our Limerick of the Damned on this episode of Dave's Gone By. So we got all that coming up. Did I leave out anything? I don't think so. No.
You said the quiz, the theater people.
Yeah.
You said the interview. You said what else?
Yeah, I was going to do a My Sick Mind segment, but I didn't have time to write it. I do have one My Sick Mind. Wait, now I've forgotten it. I told it to you yesterday.
Like I remember.
It was of course a Sondheim joke, but
it was something about a son of what? Give me the name of his songs.
I mean, some of them would be sweet, like what do the angels now have in heaven? Company. But that's kind of cute. That's not really sick. I don't know. Maybe I'll do them for next week. I got a good one, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about...
Yeah. I'm like, well... Yeah. So, let me remind you, though. I mentioned davelefkowitz.org as a place where you can read my plays, my reviews, my interviews in print for places like Long Island Woman and the late lamented Long Island Pulse and stuff I wrote for Playbill back in the day. So just go to davelefkowitz.org and you can surf more than 1,000 pieces of writing. I keep adding to it all the time. Plus, davesgoneby.com is my website. DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. And this is the place where, I was talking at the beginning of the show of all the shows we've done in the past 19 and a half years, right? You can hear them. The shows that we did back in 2003.
25 people.
2005, 2014. Just, ever since the show started, we've kept every episode except a couple that, for technical reasons, got lost, alas. But all the rest are there. Out of 825 plus episodes, there's about 822 or 3 on that website.
7.6%.
Most of them are audio only, and the last 4 or so years are video as well. Check them out, it's free. And that's davesgoneby.com. Plus, we put our archives at. Let me just check my phone to make sure nobody's good.
And Wendy's okay. Our friends are probably stranded at Little America. Can we send out an SOS if anybody's in Wyoming?
Yeah, a big congratulations to our. Well, let me just remind people that our archives are also at archive.org. We have nothing to do with this website. It's a nonprofit that collects art and entertainment and literature from hundreds of years, public domain stuff mainly, and you can watch it and listen to it there, archive.org. We have a channel, Dave's Gone By. Same archives you're going to get at davesgoneby.com, but if you want to support that place, you can watch their stuff there. You can also listen to all our material at castbox.fm, castbox.fm. This is just for podcasting. So even over the past couple of years when we've been video, on that website, it's just the audio, but it's specifically tailored for people who want podcasts, who are on the go, who are at the gym, who just want to listen to the show without watching it. Castbox.fm.
What's Misha's last name?
Who? What? Goodman. And then we also have a YouTube channel called Dave's Gone By. We try and put up all our stuff there as well. Sometimes copyright issues zap us or mute us on YouTube, but otherwise, tons of our shows are there, so check us out there. And if you are in Nassau County watching Altice Cablevision, if you... Ooh, I should really plug this in. So, yeah, if you still have this old thing called cable TV, right? It's this thing that your grandparents used to have. But they still do it. And on Tuesday nights from 9:30 until 10:30, prime time, on Channel 20, they're doing hour-long excerpts of the show. Now, it's not the best way to watch Dave's Gone By, but if you happen to be watching TV and surfing channels with nothing to watch on a Tuesday night, and you flip around, you'll see this head. You'll see this random excerpt of Dave's Gone By every Tuesday night on Channel 20 on Altice Cablevision, so you probably want to check that out and enjoy the show. So the main thing is there's tons of ways to find Dave's Gone By on and around the interwebs, and tons of ways to connect to. Remember, you can post your messages right here on the Facebook page, or write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com. So, let's see. What else is there to say about... Now, you had mentioned Wendy and Fred, our friends, we call them Friendy, who are... Wendy's had some very serious medical stuff. She's been on the show talking us about it. They're our great friends from Colorado. She's gone through 4 procedures. I believe the 4th was the last.
3.
Well, didn't she have 3 here and 1 here to...
Uno, dos, tres.
Oh, so it's 2 up here and 1. Anyway, it's a thing to control.
2 in the tank.
Yeah. And one of the great things is that the latest I've heard from them, and Joyce has heard from them, is that they spent Thanksgiving, or still maybe there,
I hope so.
in Mischamerica, Wyoming. They're in a hotel. They're having that beautiful.
Is this her?
Is that yes?
Okay.
Wonderful news, because last time they were on the show a couple of weeks ago, she was showing us the scar on her head and talking about what she's gone through. So it's really great that they got away, and I told our Little America story a couple of years ago, when we all went there just for a meal, just to see. Because Little America is just this giant hotel that is decked out for the holidays from November on, and they have a buffet on weekends.
Oh, it's delicious.
That is, it's like going to a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah at a hotel. It's just nonstop delicious food, beautiful surroundings, and then when we were ready to leave, ready to go home after a nice, leisurely, delicious buffet lunch, it took us about 2 hours between handing the people there our credit card and getting our credit card receipts.
Don't tell them what threw them.
What did throw them? What was the problem?
He used a gift card.
It became almost farcical. And the great joy of it is when we finally did get back on the road. Now it was dark out and snowing.
Yes.
So instead of coming home in the light, driving back to Greeley, because Wyoming to Greeley is about an hour, or so it's really not a long drive.
It's not treacherous or anything.
No, it is treacherous when you're driving into blackness and snow. Excuse me.
Tea?
Yeah, thank you. Oh. Oh. Salute. So, I have my issues about going back to Little America, but I still want to. And I'm so glad that they did. And apparently are having a fine, fine time.
Well, we don't know. The last we heard, they were in the room, so let's hope they... Can I have a cup?
Oh, no, you can't, because my cups are runneth over with seltzer. Hold on, let me train it. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's perfect. Here you go. Thank you. My wonderful wife, who helps me in all things. Da-da-da. So, what else? Oh, sorry about that. Do I need to tell you about this week or this show before we get to our guest in the Daverhood, Mischa Dani Goodman? Let's see.
Actress, a filmmaker, director. That's what she has in her tagline.
Which she is. Which she has been proving over the past couple of years, which is kind of neat.
Oh, yeah.
And I thank certainly the Playground Experiment. I thank the folks there.
I linked your play and I linked the book.
Thank you, sweetie. So
I'd like to know how the actors got selected, like all that backstory that we don't know.
Yeah, actually, that would be cool. I don't know if the directors chose them.
How they do it? Is it like an ensemble where they pull from different casts? Does she?
Or was there an audition notice? I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be curious.
But let me tell you about until she gets here a little bit about our Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving hasn't been really normal for anybody for the past 2 years. It'll probably be more normal this year for people than it was last, which is why we have Omicron. But for various reasons.
Omicron, I don't like it because it sounds like that old watch company. That's disturbing.
I know. They're looking for names. What I want to know is what happened between Delta, D,
Kappa,
and O.
Delta. But I don't know if Delta's D. I don't know if the Greek alphabet goes on basically.
Oh,
I don't think the Greek alphabet goes in order. I'll look it up.
Because remember, wasn't there a Gamma? We were all worried about Gamma for a while.
Like gabapentin, like Gamma, like your grandma.
No, there was going to be a Gamma variant. I guess that one kind of petered out.
I have a good friend who speaks Greek. But let me do the alphabet. Let's see.
Yeah, the Greek. See what number, where O is. Because we all know when there's a hurricane or a tropical storm, they name them.
Greek alphabet in order.
Yeah, they name them letter after letter after letter. And so you hear about the ones that are big, but there are all these little tropical storms that turn into nothing, but they're named.
So it goes alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, z, omicron.
Good Lord.
Phi, rho, sigma, tau, upsilon. I can't seem to upsilon.
Yeah.
Phi.
Phi on that.
Chi? I'd say chi.
Chi.
Chi, C-H-I, psi, and omega.
Chi should be the letter T if you think about it.
If you look at,
Omicron is a long way away from Delta.
Omicron is, it goes alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, z,
how does Z come before O? How does that happen?
Wait, hold on.
What was wrong with the Greeks?
Wait.
I mean, I know they like to get things behind, but...
Psi.
Psi.
Omicron, and then the next one...
What? Omicron.
Keep saying Omicron.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the alphabet's not in the same order, Bubba?
No, well, it's close. There's a gap between D and O.
There's less letters.
A few less letters, but still.
Yeah.
It's not as if there was D, E, F, G, O. Right? Somehow there were these potential variants of all these different Greek letters, and they jumped all the way to Omicron. But anyway, about Thanksgiving. So.
Oh, Stan gave you a love. I gave you love. Stan gave you love.
Thank you very much, Stan. Right, I can't do these things.
Maybe Stan could merge you with
Who? Sondheim.
Stan, merge David with Sondheim.
Either that or maybe find Mama Rose. Or if you can pixelate me so that I'm one of those people standing in Sunday in the park. Like, the guy with a cane and the girl with a parasol. Not the dog. Not the dog. Or the monkey.
It's still all over, David. When you don't watch the Pond of Bullying, there we go.
Okay. Just leave it for a bit.
Ow.
Anywho, in about a moment or so, I'm expecting our guest to be logging on. I hope she's not having an issue. Let me check our, let me just check my mail.
Is she in New York?
Yeah. Or should be. Da.
Here, buddy.
No, we should be good. All right, just pop it. Let me have it.
It's hot. Don't take it from the handle. Burning my hands.
Let it go.
Trevor wonders why I'm not on air because my hands are burned from me. Apparently, I don't have any tea. If anyone in this house knows how to make tea, it should be me.
We have a guest ready to enter the Daverhood. So,
Yay.
Let me introduce, first of all, the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon. He is the founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. So Rabbi Saul does most of our interviews these days, which is kind of cool.
Because he works for free.
Yeah, pretty much. Cheap labor. So here's some theme music for Rabbi Saul. I hope it'll play. Here it is. Yeah! Untitled. Die. Title, die. Diddle. Hey. Oh, swing out, sister. Yes, my friends. Hold on. Yes, I know she's turning the camera around. Oh, now I see her name. In a moment, we will see right side up, God willing, a delightful, adorable actress who was in a short play that the producer of this program, Dave, did. Hello. Oh, I see her. Now we just need to unmute her. Hello, Shalom. We unmute. Come on, you're a Jewish woman. Of course, you should be talking. Here we go. Come on.
Shalom,
damn it.
Rabbi.
Oh, Shalom, Misha. How are you?
Is my Wi-Fi okay?
So far, so decent. So we see you.
Thank you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Rabbi.
How was
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Thank you. Good Shabbos to you, too. How was your secular holiday, the Thanksgiving thing?
Oh, it was great. We just ate a lot of food, drank a lot of wine, had a lot of family, all the good things.
Usually family and wine does not go good together. If too much wine with family, not so. But yours, no issues, no fighting?
There's always a little bit of fighting.
Oh, like what? Tell me. Let's have some dirt.
There's always a little bit of fighting. There's a fire. I mean, last year there was a fire. A fire at the table. So this year there was no fire, but that was only because there was a fire last year. So last year there was some small candles at the table, and then someone was reaching into the bread bowl as Jews do, always looking for bread.
Yes.
Because we're, hungry. And so someone's reaching into the bread bowl, their elbow gets caught on the fire, then the bread bowl's up in flames, and no one seems to notice because everyone's like talking or whatever. And so I'm like, fire, there's a fire. And then everyone's like, oh my God, fire. And then
you saved the day?
And this was my first Thanksgiving at my boyfriend's house, and everyone was like, wow, Misha's really a firefighter. She's a medical professional. She's our Lord and Savior.
Oh, they use that phrase. Is your boyfriend of the faith, or what is he?
He's of the faith.
Oh, thank God.
Of the faith.
Just check. He's
of the faith.
How did you meet this? It's been a pandemic. How did you meet a person during the pandemic?
Well, I met him on Hinge. No, I met him on Hinge about a year and a few months ago, looking for a Jewish boyfriend, of course. On the dating app Hinge, paid for the fancy profile where you can like mark off what you're looking for. Was looking for a Jewish boyfriend, of course.
Yes.
And found him. We've been dating ever since.
What was it about him that made you swipe? I don't know made you unhinge him.
Well,
what? Yes.
He was good looking. He had a good job. He was Jewish. He seemed like he was funny.
Yeah.
Good looking, good job, Jewish.
Mix them up, but okay, yeah. No, Mazel. And this is wonderful. What is his job? I'm curious what he does, and then we'll get to what you do.
He works in finance. He works in
investment,
like an
marry
investment.
Son of a bitch. I don't care if he beats you. He works in finance. Marry him. So you can divorce him a day later. You get half
I'm trying.
Do it. Get him. You got. He's not a doctor.
Trying.
But still, he works with the money. You're in good shape. Well done, Misha.
It's good. Thank you. Well, his sister's dating a surgeon who's going to be a plastic surgeon. So there's the doctor in the family.
Oh, this is... Misha, you are a credit to your race.
Work done, hopefully.
so, now enough about other people. Let's talk about you, Mischa Dani Goodman. No, by the way, do you go by the full name or just Misha Goodman?
That's me.
Mischa Dani Goodman. You keep the middle name in there.
Mischa Dani Goodman. That's the stage name. My friends just call me Moosh or Mish, Misha, Moosh, Mish.
Moosh, Mish, man.
You over there.
It's all mishmash over. So, but also, was there another Mischa Goodman in Equity, and that's why, or you just chose
No.
Danny?
There might have been, actually. I don't remember. That was so long ago. But there actually is a Mischa Goodman on IMDb, I think, for like maybe composing or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Apparently there is another, so maybe that also was. So what is, since you're Jewish, the M is for who died and left you the M, and who died and left you the D?
So my real name is Mischa Dani Goodman, and the M is from my dad's grandpa, Papa Max, who had an ear-to-ear smile. So
That's
got the
terrifying.
dimples.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. And then the other one was from my mom's great uncle Dan, who was Uncle Dan the bandage man. I guess he was a doctor.
Oh, there you go.
And so that, but my Hebrew name, Rabbi, is really the most interesting part of all the names, is that my Hebrew name is Nechama Davida, which means gift from God. So I am a gift from God.
Oh my God, to the acting world, you certainly are. Let me say, I saw you in Dave Lefkowitz's comedy called 3%. It was part of the Playground Experiments Faces of America monologue competition. So first of all, how did you send in audition tapes? How were you cast in the first place? Do you know?
So, I was actually thinking about this the other day. Like, how did I meet Mike from the Playground Experiment? And it was just so long ago that I started working with him, Mike Lesser, who runs the Playground Experiment. And I'm pretty sure that how I met Mike was probably like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, when my friend Jonna brought his play in called Daughters of the Dewey Decimal, which was about these women who worked in the library. I don't remember if it was in the 60s or the 50s or whatever. Maybe it was, I don't remember what it was. But he was workshopping the play at the Playground Experiment, and that's where I met Mike. And then a couple of playwrights saw me, and they kept asking me to come back and do a couple different readings. And Mike and I just stayed, in touch. And I hadn't heard from him in a while. And then he was like, "Hey, do you want to be in this thing?" And I was like, "Oh, a chance to act? Sure." And I didn't even know what the monologue or anything was going to be. So I pretty much just said yes without reading the piece, which is not always a good thing. You just say yes without seeing the material.
I got in trouble. I remember when I said yes and it turned out to be animal porn. And I was like, I made them pay me a lot more. But here's the question though. So he hooked you up with the director Darpan Joshi rather than Joshi selecting you. So he's like, "Here, Darpan, you're working with Mischa, right?"
Okay. Yes, that's what happened. And and Darpan was such a great guy. I loved working with him. He was so sweet.
So when you got the play and you realized that the author was a genius, at what point did you realize or figure out the character? I mean, did you get it right off? So I know how I'll play her and so forth, or did you have to memorize it first and then it came to you? Tell me.
Well, at first, so I memorized lines in a very specific way. I memorized lines like with no emotion, with no anything, and I memorized them by writing the first letter of every word on the page and looking at it like that. And that's how I learn it. And then when I'm memorizing it, I write every first letter of every word until I get the whole thing down. And then I start speaking it.
Huh. I've never heard. Did you learn this from a acting teacher or just your way?
No, but I actually randomly one time saw someone on YouTube saying that they did it the same way. But the reason I started doing it like that was because I was always writing down the lines over and over and over again to remember them. And then I was like, why am I wasting time writing down the whole word? Like once I've gotten the first part of the word, like the word is known. So it's like, why am I moving forward with the word? So then I just started writing the first word of every, first letter of every word.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing. So in the process of writing those letters, but still flat affect, no emotion, no character, just amazing. At what point?
You try to do that. It doesn't always work that way. I mean, like I get ideas and then I sort of put it in, but like I try to do it that way, because I don't want to get something in my head and then not be able to get rid of it if it's not correct.
Well, when you started working with the director, Darpan, how much was there already? And then you said, oh, try this or take this pause. Or how much was you waited? You knew the lines, but you were tabula rasa when he got to you.
Yeah, so we only had one rehearsal together, and I knew we were only going to have one rehearsal. So it wasn't like I was relying upon this one rehearsal to really turn me into, Meryl Streep. So I had most of it like ready. But what I did work on from like since our rehearsal and to the performance was really making it more real, because like I totally understood the character, because like you get it, like she's very cringeworthy, but also like in order for that to resonate with people at all, it has to be real and come from like a genuine place. So what I worked on was really bringing it down to earth and making it relatable, because when I first started doing it, I was like really hyper and really excited and really wanted the job, and it was just too much, and making it too much made it more unlikable. And like, if you know Dave, you would, the writer, like
what an asshole. I know him. He's a brilliant writer, but an asshole completely. Yes.
Right. So a lot of the lines are kind of unlikable. She doesn't mean to be unlikable. She's being genuine, but it's hard to watch because you're just like, oh my God, like, are you like, you need to stop. You just need to stop. Right. So you have to like find a way to be the most likable version of somebody who's saying these very unlikable, dumb things, because those people exist.
No, of course.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Yeah, Darpan was saying to
me. In Chicken and Biscuits on Broadway is when, no, they wouldn't even take my calls. Raising in the Sun, I tried, I put on a shoe pop, nothing works. Have you ever done that with your resume? Have you ever, ever put or said that you could ride a horse because it said has to ride horse, and then it's like, oh, I better learn to ride a horse if I get this part. Have you ever fudged?
Haven't we all?
Yeah. Come on, yeah, but about what? Was it accent? Was it?
I mean, we have. Okay, so, like when I first moved to New York, so when I was in high school, I was in this group called the Jazz Dancers. And the Jazz Dancers were the most fanciest, hardest to get into group of dancers there were. Like I was the only person who made the dance group as a freshman. So I was like the one freshman on the team. So I was like, oh, I'm so good at dance. I'm the best dancer that ever was. Right. So I danced all through high school, and then I danced a little bit in college, but then I sort of stopped dancing. And so on my resume, like said a bunch of dance. And then, in the last few years, like I realized like I really need to add the word basic in front of some of these words, because it's really not, someone expects you to like do tap, do jazz, like do ballet, like you better like do that, or you better write basic, because
that's going to be Cassie.
Right. They're going to expect you to do it. So those were a little fudged, but what else I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's really hard. You can lie about like random stuff, like, oh, I play volleyball. Oh, I do this, I do that. But it's going to come around and get you. Like I used to work at an indoor cycling studio, and I was like really good at indoor cycling. I worked at Soul Cycle. And so at Soul Cycle, the whole thing is like you ride to the rhythm of the music. And so it's like, you gotta be doing it. And I was like really good at that. And so I put that on my resume. And there were a couple of auditions where they were like, must be whatever at indoor cycling. And so if I had booked that job, I would have needed to like do that really well. So it comes back to you. So you can't really like lie about stuff like that.
That's I do all the time, but that's just me. You shouldn't. Yeah. It's against the Torah. You should not be telling. It's the 614th commandment. You should not lie about speaking Portuguese if you do not speak Portuguese. Oddly enough, they don't do it for like any of the Ukrainian dialects. That's what you can lie about, at least according to the Torah. Rashi has. Where am I going with this? Anyway, we're talking with Mischa Dani Goodman, starlet of the little show 3% that was part of the day. But the other thing that you are really pushing and working on is not only are you a main actress in a short movie, but you executive produced a comedy called Unbridled. So please tell us about this whole project and how this came to be, and the fact that you're not just, you're behind the camera, you're finding the money for this thing. Talk.
Yes. Okay. So I, along with my best friend and business partner and soul sister and, common law marriage partner, Caitlin Simpson, almost, because we've spent so much time together, have been working on this film for many years. It's been like in its inception. We've been like actually filming pieces of it and that kind of thing for the last 2 years, but we raised the money to shoot it in 2018 and the idea came to us in about 2017. We were like sitting in her apartment and we were invited to all of these weddings and we were thinking like, oh my God, when they ask us like, what do you do? So what are you up to? It was like, oh my God, like this idea of like what they expect of women of a certain age to be up to. Like they expect us to be engaged, have a great job, looking to buy an apartment, like all of these things that like Caitlin and I were just not.
We're going to soul cycle, all of that.
Yeah, exactly. So we were just grappling with this concept of what it was like to be, not the woman that the rest of America expected us to be at this point in our lives, not even just because we were artists, but just another is like living in New York City, I feel like is a much different lifestyle for a young woman than the rest of the world. Even like, I felt like at this time, my friends in Boston were like getting married and having kids. But my friends in New York were like not getting married and not having kids. Like we were just at a different place, but the pressure was still like building. And so that's kind of how we started thinking about wanting to do a movie like this. And we were also like, well, we want to be the leads in the movie. And I had been doing a ton of commercial work for a while. That's something that I've had a lot of success in, which has been great since I moved to New York. But I was like, I want to do narrative and I want to do something like what I like to watch. And what I like to watch is these big female, commercial style comedies. And if no one's going to give me the opportunity, then let's make it together. And so
let me pause it right there because I am curious. This is not like something that somebody shot on a cell phone and you got together for a weekend. This is a short film. Is it like 20 minutes? How long is the film? Like
it's 14:34.
Well, about 15 minutes. But I see the camera on the thing. It's a professional, real camera. How much did you have to raise for this thing, and how did you raise it?
Yeah. So actually, the camera that we shot the movie on is the same camera they shot The Hangover on. So it's like a really fancy. We did not shy away from that area of like doing the best stuff. We also had like an amazing DP, John Blackwood.
Life is none of my business, but no, that's regular photography people. Yes.
Yes. So amazing DP who helped us get some amazing shots and was amazing with the camera. But yeah, so we raised, I think it was $43,000 through Seed and Spark, which is a great crowdfunding website. I don't know if everyone who's going to watch this is going to know what that is. So it's kind of like a mix of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You have to raise 80% of your funds to get them back. But what's great about it is they have all of these like filmmaker perks. Like it's really a filmmaker's crowdfunding place. And we had a crowdfunding coach actually teach us and help us through this process. We hired a guy called the Kickstarter guy. His name is Justin Giddings, and we've actually become really close with him over the couple of years. And he helped us every step of the way, kind of crafting our crowdfunding site, creating our incentives and building the campaign and getting all this stuff. And we did need a little bit of money outside of the money that we raised.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. Does $43K pay for everything, including the final edit? Or it just
that's the game plan.
What? Sorry?
That's the idea. I mean, that was the idea. You want people to think that you made the best movie possible with the lowest budget possible.
Which you did.
So the game plan was to make the whole, but of course, the game plan was to make that with that money. We did need a little bit extra, obviously, because it took much longer. So we filmed the movie in 2019. And
before COVID, that must have helped. It happened. You got it.
Did.
Yeah.
It did. But then the pandemic hit, we also realized there were a couple flaws in the story, a couple things we needed to reshoot. And so we did some shooting during the pandemic with a very small crew, very COVID safe situation. And then we were able to finish it. So luckily I was also the editor on the film. So we didn't have to like pay an editor to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, because that would have been way too much.
And you were able, I mean, that's almost a full-time job. I mean, sitting there with the, we're using what, Avid, or what is your
yeah, so I originally did the film on Final Cut Pro and then moved it into Premiere Pro. So now I use Adobe for everything, but originally I was using Final Cut. But then when we were moving originally, so we went into post-production twice. The first time when we thought we were done, and then the second time when we knew we were done. Right. So the first time when we thought we were done, they were like, oh, we can't take the file in the format that you have it. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I learned an entire new program and whatever. But then from then on, I just used the Premiere program.
And how long did it take you, even for a short film, but with all these takes and takes from 2 years ago, then 1 year ago, how long did it take to go to at least a rough cut, a watch with music and effects and everything?
Well, the music and like the effects don't come until way later. So like the rough cut comes, it takes a couple weeks, not that long. Oh, when you're just like cutting together like the bulk of the scenes, it's not that takes so long. It's like the finessing and cutting out all the fat. Like there's so much stuff that you don't want to cut out, and especially as like one of the actors, it's hard to be like losing something where like your acting moment is great, or like my best friend, her acting moment is great, but it's like we have to do what's best for the story. And so in the beginning it was hard to lose those things, but after the first few weeks we were like, okay, well, your acting doesn't matter, my acting doesn't matter, your looks don't matter, my looks don't matter, because we just need to get to the beat of the story.
Tell the story, that's right. I mean, when you were filming, I'm kind of, because you were both acting and executive producing in this thing, but you are not directing. You have a different director.
No, we have an amazing director, Chelsea Brinlockie. She has been with us for, I think probably 2.5, maybe 3 years, 2.5 years at this point. She like was so committed. She has gone above and beyond her role as a director and turned into a producer.
Well, but when you were, like, if you had a disagreement, you being both the lead actress and the money person, did you ever have a thing with the director, like either on set or off set, of like, no, don't do it this way, or I don't feel, or should, no, that's the take, no, that's the take. And then did you have to, who pulls rank at that point?
Do you mean on set or in the edit?
Well, first on set, and then maybe also in the edit. Because I'm curious.
So, on set, like, the funny thing is I don't remember ever disagreeing about anything like that. Also, there's no time. There's like no time for any of that shit. Like, because you're shooting like a low, even though you have, what you think is enough money to do anything, like there's never enough money. Like you're shooting with no money, no time, you're losing light. The first time we shot, we had daylight savings. That was not pulled into the time frame. Like no one knew about daylight savings. We lost an hour of the day. So we're like racing against the clock. So there's no time for that. So you do the best acting you can, and you take the notes that you can. But also Caitlin and I have been working on it for so long that we came to Chelsea with the ideas that we had and worked together, the three of us, to come to what we wanted before we got to the set. In the edit, there were definitely times where Chelsea and I disagreed on what should be, like story-wise. But it was a give and take. Sometimes I back down, sometimes she backed down, sometimes Caitlin would pipe in and she would not back down. It's like you have to decide if it's your hill to die on. And if it is, then the other people have to keep walking.
Wow. Now, where is is the film finished? Is it in its final
finished
form? Where is it? Is it going to festivals? How do people see it if they want to see it?
So it is currently password protected on Vimeo, submitted to over 21 festivals. From my lips to Rabbi, to God's ears, please God, let us get into some good festivals, push my career forward, let me get discovered, let me do good things.
Right.
So once it goes to some festivals, we'll be able to send it to people and show them and have some sort of premiere. Hopefully we'll have like it go to a festival in New York and have like a New York premiere and literally invite everyone we know and have a big party and stuff like that. But we're not really sending it out to anyone other than, very close people to the production at this point.
Let me ask you though. Now you put obviously 3-4 years heart and soul into this project while doing the other things that you need to do. Back in the day, like if you wanted to be a Broadway dancer, they were like, back in the day, I'm talking like 30, 40 years ago. Stick with that. Don't do don't lose your focus, right? If this is what you want to do, you got to concentrate on this. You are acting, directing, and now also producing things. Do you fear that, by not focusing on one, you're just going to be swimming from thing to thing and not really have a stake in one thing that you can make a full career of?
Yeah, sometimes I have those feelings, but not often. Because doing this project has really led me to realizing how much I love being like in the center of the film, like not just the actress, but like I loved the editing. Like I've now taken up professional editing. I'm doing narrative editing for other people. I love doing that. I love the storytelling and I love being in control of the big picture, like especially for female driven comedies. And that matters to me, like representation matters and telling the stories that I want to see matters. So yes, I want to star in all the movies all the time, but and I'm in no way giving up acting and have no plans to give that up ever. But I do see the value in the whole picture and doing the other things as well, because I think you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. And so I am just seeing what comes at me and going with that.
It's true. Before I was married, let's say I wanted to sleep with 3 women. I could sleep with 3, but not at the same time. I tried. But at least you can have it eventually all.
Yes.
Actually, usually there was no women, but that's neither here nor there. So what is your next big project? Because you have to push. That's the thing. You have to spend months pushing the project you've already done. I think you're frozen. But what's now next? Uh-oh. Hello. Shalom. I think we've lost momentarily Mischa Dani Goodman. Who's she's gonna have to log on and log off and log in. Oh well,
Rabbi,
let me tell.
Rabbi, at least she's in a very cute pose, Rabbi.
Yeah, look how she's smiling.
Oh, I see you.
Yes.
I'm back.
Welcome out. What the hell did you touch on the computer? Don't touch that again. What's the matter with you? What happened? You don't know. Oh, can you hear me?
I literally didn't do anything. Sure. I can hear you.
Oh, good. Can you see? I can see you. You look great. You sound.
I can see you.
We're back. Shalom.
We're back.
Yes, thank God.
We are back.
Okay, so.
You asked me, what is my next
big project? Yes.
That's a great question, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Rabbi Saul, I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
I mean, do you have another script? Well, you didn't write the Unbridled film,
so
yeah.
We created the Unbridled. So we conceptualized it, but we had someone else write it. We are trying to turn Unbridled into a feature. So that is a project that's on the docket. And I have a couple of things that I'm working on, a couple of other shorts that I'm working on that are not ready to be talked about yet. But
I
have a couple of things in the fire.
Only my long pants. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a couple of things that I'm working on. I haven't decided like what's going to be the next one of those things that I would like to bring to fruition. But because Unbridled literally was just completed like a couple weeks ago, maybe like a month and a half ago.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we just finished and it's been so much work for so long that I've taken a tiny break, but I've been working on this kind of last single girl concept you know, like you get the call from your friend that's like, oh, I'm engaged, and you're literally the last person that's not married, because all my friends are getting married and it's like a big thing, and I'm literally the last person to be engaged of anyone I know. So I'm working on a concept about that.
And what about how much time do you have to spend in your life, or since you're an actress, obviously, auditioning and going for roles now that the world sort of is temporarily opening up, and there's off Broadway and off Broadway and Broadway and film and commercials? Are you still doing commercials?
Yeah. I did one a couple weeks ago for the streaming service called Fubo TV. It's like a sports streaming service. I haven't seen the spot yet, so let me know if you see it.
Is it national?
I think it is, and it should be good. And yeah, so I'm definitely get a couple tapes a week. So that's pretty good. Throughout the pandemic, it's been pretty consistent with like a tape a week, a couple tapes a week. Things that are, now that things are opening up, like nothing's changed as far as like auditions in person. Like tapes are still tapes, callbacks are in person. That's what I've noticed so far. So it's not
going back
different.
Going back a few years before the pandemic, before all of this, you were auditioning like all the other actor people. You'd show up, there'd be a call. Are you equity? So what was your worst ever audition? Most embarrassing, most
Oh my God, okay. You ready? I'm not going to name names, but here's what happened. So I went, and there's a very, very like famous, not necessarily famous, like a very well-known casting director, casts a lot of things in New York, a lot of TV, a lot of movies. And I had taken class with him a bunch of times, and he's kind of a tough guy and, you know, big and like kind of scary, but he was like always nice to me. And so I thought, whatever. I get called in for this like Jennifer Lopez movie. And it's like not a big part, but it's like, you know, 5-6 lines, whatever.
All right.
And I go in and I say to the guy, like, I honestly, this was like 3 years ago, so I don't remember what I said, but it was something along the lines of like, haven't seen you, like, it's so great to see you again. Like, I haven't seen you in so long. It's so great to see you, like, in a really positive way. And the guy literally like whips around and he's like, you should never say that to a casting director. I didn't remember that I hadn't seen you in so long. And now I'm thinking that I haven't called you in so long. And there's a reason probably why I didn't call you in so long. And I was like,
right. Wow.
So obviously my audition is ruined because I'm like dying inside. So I do the audition as what I prepared, which is like, you know, probably like a shell of what I prepared because I'm so thrown off. And then he gives me a note, which I can barely take because I'm like freaking out. And then I leave the office and I had to call my manager because I was like, oh my God, like, I need you to know about this because I don't think I'm ever going to get called in by this guy again. And it went so badly. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, it's going to be fine. But literally, he never called me in ever again. Ever.
And since he's never going to call you again, you want to name this asshole?
No, because you want to know something super weird? Recently, he told someone that I was his student and he really liked me. Somebody was talking to him about one of my other things that I had done, and he was like, yeah, she's great. I really like her.
Are all people in the entertainment industry mentally ill on some basic level? And, you know, seriously, I mean, I'm sorry that experience wasn't on you. You know, that experience was on him. Absolutely. This wasn't, but what was your, even if you didn't get the part, what was your best audition?
Best audition ever.
Like, you just went in and you're like, oh, I thought I was going to do well. I knocked this one, you know, into the bleachers.
I don't know. I probably had a ton like that.
Good. This is wonderful.
Yeah. I don't really remember like a specific one like that. You know, there are times where you just walk out of the room and then you know, like, either you have it or you don't have it. Either you have it or it's not that you don't. They didn't pick you because you weren't great. You know, like So that happens like not all the time, but like it's happened to me many times. I can't remember a specific time where I walked out being like, I'm a goddess,
I have walked out of auditions and sermons thinking I'm a goddess, and I really felt goddess in my nature. Now, let me ask you: you've been trained. You've gotten a bachelor's at the University of Connecticut. You've also been to RADA, in England. So, like, what's the most important thing that you took away from actual theater and film and TV training?
Like acting is behavior.
Acting is behavior, you said? Is that the...
Yeah. Like...
Okay, that was quick. So, next question.
Yeah, well, at least TV, like, film and TV acting, like, and maybe that's not the most important thing, but that's the thing I think about the most in the auditions that I do the most, which is like, what is the behavior that tells the story? Because, like, for many years, like as an actor, you're like, what am I feeling in this moment? But it's also, it is, what are you feeling? And it is all of those things, but it's also like, what is that person doing in that moment? Like, what is a human being? Like, how does a human being behave in those scenarios? And I find as actors, we are often forgetting, like, we are also human beings. And like, what is a normal person doing in that scenario? Well, they're not just standing there talking to someone, like you're checking your phone, like you're thinking about the next thing, like you're having a glass of water, like, you're just being a person. Like, you got to be a person when you're acting, and you forget that because you love doing all the other stuff, like feeling the things and experiencing like the being in the moment with the other person, like all that's the fun stuff and all that's like what keeps you alive. But remembering that you have to be a person is hard.
It should tell you something about actors that you have to remember to be a person. This should explain the whole mental illness key right there. But let me ask you, in England, with the Royal Academy, you studied specifically Shakespeare, yes? What did you learn that was a key or a clue to deciphering and performing the Bard?
That was a while ago. What was the key to performing? We focused a lot on like breath work at RADA. It was a lot about like breath and movement and...
Oh, I had a movement this morning. I feel so good. Yeah, no, that's so...
Yeah, just like we had a lot of different voice classes and a lot of different like, we had multiple different like voice and alignment classes, like a lot of Alexander and stuff like that. So they're really focused on the body as like a total instrument and not just like the words themselves.
Well, that was helpful. I mean, have you found yourself going back to Alexander technique and other things that you used at RADA in the other acting that you do? Or was it good to learn, but it's kind of backgroundy?
I do sometimes. I haven't done Shakespeare in a while. Like when I went to RADA, I literally was like, I'm going to be a Shakespearean actress. And I'm going to get rid of everything else in my life because I am serious. And I'm going to move to London. I'm going to get rid of my family and my friends. And I'm going to move here and drink nothing but water and Shakespeare,
You were young.
Then I was young. I was crazy. But yeah, like what's also great about Shakespeare is like, again, being a person, like you are saying these words and you think you are in these very heightened situations, but you're also like a human being. And what are these human beings doing in these moments?
That's fair.
You have to remember that they are much simpler than you imagine. Like the moments themselves are much simpler.
Let me simply remind you that the human being we are talking to is Mischa Dani Goodman. If you want to know more about her, first of all, she has a website, but it's unbelievably impossible to just type in that they have to Google her to get to it. It's a Wix site, but it's Mischa Dani.
Really?
Wix. Oh yeah, don't even.
No, it should just be MischaDani.com.
Oh, MischaDani.com. Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
MischaDani.com. Mischa, DANI. Don't put the good name. It's MischaDani.com, and that will bring you to the Wix site of her reel, her resume, her stuff, her blah, blah, blah. Dave, the producer of this program, he will be putting up as soon as he can the video of 3%, the play that Mischa was in just a week or so ago virtually. And of course, if you are a film festival person or a producer person, do contact her to see Unbridled, which is...
Yes, contact me. I'll show it to you.
Absolutely. Now, we're waiting for the people who are coming in to play the game, the trivia with Mischa, the trivia game with Dave and her, but they're not here yet. They don't know why. It's 10:31. Come on, you bastards. But until then, I have a couple more questions, including, I have to know this. Oh, my God. One of the things that you mentioned on one of your website-y places is that it was in Connecticut, and you were assisting on a play. And it was a Neil Simon play. And in this play was Pat Sajak. And you were the assistant to Pat Sajak on The Odd Couple. Oh, yes. Tell us a story.
You know, like, you're going to hate this, but it was a lot more boring than you would imagine.
I can't imagine Pat Sajak being more boring. But okay, go ahead. Please tell me.
He was a great guy. He was really nice to everybody. I mean, he did fly in a private jet, which I did find to be weird. But, as a random, not, rich person, I was like, ooh, private jet, can I come on?
Did you?
But,
No.
No, I didn't. He also has a son who's also is named Pat Sajak. So I was like,
Well,
not us Jews.
Jr., just Pat. He didn't call him Pat Jr.
Well, he went by Patrick.
Oh, okay. Well,
but honestly, we Jews don't name people after people. So it's like
not living people, certainly. No, not ourselves, for sure. No,
yeah.
But he was a nice guy, I assume. He was a pleasant.
He was super nice. The only weird thing that happened on that production, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but the other guy playing Felix, I guess his clothes got lost at the dry cleaner or something, and he freaked out at the person who was owned the dry cleaner. There was some weird thing with the dry cleaner. That's all I'm remembering. But
remember when I said acting mental illness? They go together like this. Anywho, yes. Speaking of, well, no, not speaking of anything, ladies and gentlemen, grieving with us today on this Saturday morning, the day after you know who died, we have with us David Sheward, former president of the Drama Desk, also a theater critic, was former managing editor of Backstage as well, but now he writes for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, and of course his own blog, The David Desk, and we are here also with Leslie Hoban Blake of the blog Critics Circle. Leslie's also a director, and they are here with Mischa Dani Goodman, the star of a wonderful play called 3% that my friend Dave wrote, and that should be enshrined in history. So how are you all, the other two of you, doing? How's it going? How's your day? Oh, Leslie's going away already. She's going to have a sob over Sondheim.
I'm fine. How are you, Rabbi?
I'm all right. These talus fringes are filled with tears when I got the news. Did you lose it yesterday? Did you put on a Sondheim album and start?
It's really funny. I was driving home with my husband from visiting my mother in Philadelphia. And maybe because I was thinking about, I'm going to see Company on Saturday, and I've seen Assassins, and we were trying out Spotify in our new car, and I said, oh, why don't I play some Sondheim? So I punched in Sondheim, and we played 10 or 12 songs from, The Ladies Who Lunch to Now You Know from Merrily We Roll Along, and just a lot of songs, and Hello Please, which is really one of my favorite Sondheim songs from Pacific Overture.
Yeah.
Which is just the most brilliant piece of songwriting I've heard in decades. It's just a fantastic, amazing piece of craft. And we get home, and then I open my computer, and it says that he's passed away. And it's wow, that's so weird that I was thinking of him as that happened. Earlier in a restaurant, someone said, oh, somebody died. Was it Clint Eastwood? And I said, no, it wasn't. He's still alive. And then I left it at that. And maybe they were thinking about, maybe they saw the news about Sondheim, but it was just very strange.
And what about where were you when you heard the news, Leslie Hoban Blake?
And you need to unmute.
Leslie, we need to hear you. Do the thing. Unmute. There we go.
I turned on the news and there it was. I mean, it was as if it were waiting for me to listen to it, you know. I am very thrilled that the one thing I got to do was I got to play Joanne and Company. That was my last appearance on stage in For Shit somewhere, you know, summer stock. No, it was not a great production, although our director had been in the chorus of the one on Broadway. You know, I mean, that was her claim to fame. And I got to, and it was, I used to, the hair on my arms used to stand up when I would sing that song. It was so, it electrified my entire body. And I mean, I'm not a singer, period. Forget about great singer. I'm not a singer. I could sing anything that Lauren Bacall sang. I could sing anything that B. Arthur sang. And I could sing this song, you know, I shouted it a lot more than singing it, but it worked. And I remember that I felt the only thing I wanted to do that I didn't do was Follies. That was well, I was offered the show, but it was during a season where I was doing another music. No, In For Shit, you know.
Yeah, I got it.
Of course, I was offered the show, you know. And the problem was that I was already doing the B. Arthur role in Mame, and I didn't think I could do two large roles. I would have done the Alexis Smith role. I don't remember the character's name.
Phyllis.
But, you know, thank you.
Let me ask both of you, or all three of you, did you, especially since, David, you were a journalist and remain a journalist for, I'm sorry, what? What? Bring back me. What? No, oh, that's right. Why am I doing this? Why am I still alive?
I wondered why Rabbi Saul was doing this. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, because I totally forgot to bring in the host of the show. No, we're not playing the game yet. So hold on. Let me ask David Sheward, while he's answering the question, let me bring David, the producer of the show.
What was the question?
The question was just going to be, as a journalist, you must have met and talked to and interviewed him. Probably you have too, Leslie, and maybe Mischa as well. So tell us some in-person.
Well,
yeah,
I did meet him once. He was speaking. There was some sort of it was a panel or something, and he was being interviewed, and I was attending as a journalist for Backstage, which is what I did then. And I had written a book at that point. Oh,
hello, hi everybody.
Hello.
Dave.
I had written a book called It's a Hit, which was, the idea was I was going to write a little synopsis and a little history of every show that ran on Broadway for 500 or more performances. And his shows, he had about 7 or 8 of them in there. So, and I interviewed Harold Prince and Wendy Wasserstein and Robert Lewis, who directed Brigadoon. And I gave him a copy of the book. And he, you know, I said, Mr. Sondheim, this is my book and several of your shows are in it. And he sent me a letter afterwards. I mean, he was very gracious. He said, oh, thank you so much. This is so nice of you. And then he sent me a letter saying, thanks so much for the book. I really appreciate it. So it was, and I'm sure he must have gotten literally thousands of.
But he was like that. It's weird. I don't know where he found time to write, because so many people have these things where they got a letter from Sondheim. Yeah, you know, I should have written to it. I should have done something. So I should just have a letter.
It's all over the internet today. Everybody took a picture of their letter from him, and it's really very nice. He was very nice that way.
Did you take a picture of your letter too?
I've got it somewhere. I don't know where
it isn't framed on your wall.
No, I should have, but I've got it somewhere.
We'll find it. Obviously, find it somewhere. And Leslie, did you ever meet him?
I met him. I never interviewed him. I did meet him several times through the drama desk. I met him, and you know, for one thing or another, where we did that. But you know, just to fawn over him. I was not. I had nothing else to. I didn't tell him how badly I did the song. You know, the Ladies Who Lunge. I had learned from the record practically as a child. I mean, I'd known that song all my life. It's in my DNA. But when you're doing it on stage, it's different, and some of the beats are different, and the things are different, and the cues, and I could not remember which lyric came when.
Oh.
I knew all the lyrics. I couldn't put them in order. So they put down giant pieces of paper with the first letter. That's all I needed. The first letter of the first word in the stanza across the front of the stage.
Everybody laugh, lounging and tap dancing, planning a brunch on their own behalf.
But it was an introduction into each of those, right? Whichever one it was. And so just the first letter, that's all I needed. We figured it out. First we had the word, and I didn't need the word. So the papers got smaller, but the letters stayed very big because I wore glasses in those days and I couldn't see. Mischa, good morning. I'm so sorry. We talked. Hi. I did not hear your introduction. Hi.
So Mischa,
nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
One of the main reasons Mischa's on is she is the star of the one-act play that I wrote called 3% that was in that monologue festival last week.
That's
so
right. Okay.
So welcome Mischa, welcome David Sheward, welcome Leslie Hoban Blake. It is Saturday, not December. What am I saying? November 27th, 2021. We're here on Dave's Gone By. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. The sound effects are being provided by my lovely, adorable wife Joyce, as the coughing and hacking in the background. So we're all here.
Good morning, lovely and adorable.
Well, thank you, and I'll say Joyce to that too. But our trivia game is 10. Now Mischa's never played that, so I do have to give the rules, but pretty simple, I think. 10 questions. They're worth 2 points each if you get them right. If you get them wrong, there's no penalty, but one of your competitors can then steal the question and get those 2 points. Cool. There are 3 rounds, 1 question each. A question goes to each of you. The first thing that I will ask you, and Mischa, since you are our new special guest and friend of the Daverhood, can I have you please pick a number from 1 to 6 and tell me what it is?
3.
David Sheward, don't you love the way he just makes it sound so normal?
There's nothing normal about
Well,
that.
it is normal.
Yes, it's absolutely normal.
Okay. So Mischa picked 3.
Gives us a 3.
3.
Leslie Hoban Blake, could you kindly?
I will stay with 6, thank you.
Leslie's a 6. David Sheward, what number would you like to pick?
David's gonna cuddle up.
Oh, that's right.
So we have 3 and we have 6. I'll say 4.
4. David Sheward with a 4. Okie dokie. So here's how this goes, and we're gonna try and revise it. I'm gonna ask Leslie especially to keep me honest on this, so that when numbers are closer to numbers, they're in a circle rather than linearly. We dealt with
this happened while you were gone, David. This happened last week while you were gone.
Oh dear.
David Sheward. Somebody came up with the idea. I don't remember who. Somebody came up with the idea that that numbers are it's a circle, from 1 to 6. So
that 1 is closer to 6 actually than it's a
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
whatever.
If you're okay with that, we've never done that before. We're okay.
I think I have to draw a
Sorry
circle
about
like
that, Mischa. You don't get to vote, Mischa. It's okay.
It's okay. I don't even know what the game is. So
And you
I
may
haven't
not when
prepared.
it's over.
And
And
the
you
only
may
thing
not when it's over.
The only thing I neglected to mention to Mischa is that for the finale, for the 10th question, which is either a tiebreaker or is just done for funsies, you'll need a pen or pencil or piece of paper or scrap paper. You can run and get it when it's time. You are not near? Can you draw with blood on the wall or something? Oh, there you go. Go get it.
I can go get one. Hang tight.
We're hanging tight on Dave's Gone By. So, let's see. Let me spin the die and let me see who will choose.
So I spent my morning watching Liza with a Z.
Oh.
Yes. Has nothing to do with Stephen Sondheim, but it made my spirits rise because a dear friend passed away on Tuesday.
I'm sorry. A theater friend, an entertainer?
A dear friend, a man who's 99 years old and was the husband of a very dear friend who passed away many years ago. And I inherited him as a friend. And he moved to Arizona to be with his 2 daughters, 99 years old, and very peacefully in his sleep with his daughters around him. So, we've been in constant touch about it.
Or was he Eliza? How does that connect to Liza with a Z?
I just needed something to raise my spirits.
Oh, I see.
Liza with a Z always raises my spirits. Nothing to do with Sondheim, nothing to do with my friend, just something to lift me up. That's all.
Yeah, that was
I can't believe how good that show is. Every time I watch it, I don't know what you think of it, David, but it's just brilliant.
I've never seen it. Yes. YouTube or
it's a time capsule of the 70s and Halston and Liza, and it's just brilliant.
What is it?
Liza with a Z. It's like her most famous.
We saw Halston.
I rolled the number 4. Oh no, sorry, I rolled the number 5. Excuse me. I rolled the number 5, which is problematic because it's between David and Leslie. So that much I can tell. This time I rolled the number 6, which is Leslie's number. Leslie, you can decide. Do you want to go first, second, or third?
I will go second, please.
Ooh, Leslie going second. Okay.
No, I've discovered that second is a very good position.
Your sex
not as sloppy as, but
that's what you said last night.
I know. I thought if I talked a lot, you wouldn't get it in. But
Mischa, you'll learn we're all disgusting. We're horrible individuals. My next number.
I would accept nothing less.
Oh. Here's the deal. Okay, so this rolled a 1. Now, normally, that would be closest to Mischa. Is it still? I do believe it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm not playing at that point. So
if it weren't, it would be closest to Leslie, right? Okay. Got it. Okay.
Whatever.
Mischa, you get to decide. Would you like to go first or third in the game?
Third.
Ah.
Smart girl. See, you don't even know how it's played, and you're
okay. I'm ready.
Okay, are we all ready to play today, yesterday trivia? The only thing you need to know, Mischa, is that most of these questions have to do with things that happened in history on a particular date. This day, November 27th. So it could be November 27th, 1500, or 1982. That's sort of the don't freak, don't panic. That's the question.
Oh, I just lost my light. Oh, dear God.
I can still see you.
I know. I knocked my light over.
Okay.
Do I look better with the light or without the light?
You're fine.
I'll go either way.
You look good. No, you lost it. Stop that.
That's good.
There you go. You're good. Yeah, that's lovely.
That's good.
Okay.
And
it's very dark outside, and I generally work by outside light. So.
Got it. Mischa, one last thing to tell you, and my wife reminded me that especially first-timers don't expect to win or get anything. A lot of people, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, although we will humiliate you. But sometimes people get no points at all. It's totally in fun. There's no prizes, and the questions are intended to be ridiculous and deceptive most of the time. Okay?
Great.
So just wanted to throw that on.
Well, I have no dignity anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, you're lovely. Just one thing that you should know, and that is that he mentioned it, but he didn't say it enough. He uses the dates as a jumping off point. Used to be that was the actual quiz. We actually had to know things from that period. Now he uses them. Huh?
I don't remember who was always that way, but
in the beginning when I played, it was like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And then ready. I don't know, for some reason, somewhere along, and I love this game now. It's cuckoo, but too much Liza on the brain. I haven't used that word in 100 years. But anyway, so you don't have to worry about whether you have historical knowledge or not, because it probably won't even come up.
Great.
Probably not.
I'll just make it up. I'll make up an answer.
That's a good way to go.
Yes.
Good way to go.
Okay.
David Sheward.
Yes.
I have a question for you. The first question in our quiz, round 1. The year was 1798. Okay. Released from a Russian prison today is Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi. I know you know him. Although he was accused of treason for supporting Jews living in the Ottoman Empire, Russian Tsar Paul I let him go, which is why the Chabad Orthodox celebrate this day on the Hebrew calendar as a minor holiday. Anyway, Zalman's best-known book, which laid out the Chabad belief system, is called Tanya, the Hebrew phrase for "it has been taught." Since we're talking Tanya, which of these is false about country music legend Tanya Tucker? So,
I got it. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
A is a multiple choice. In 1998, a routine facelift went wrong and left her without a sense of smell for the next 2 years. B, she once appeared on the Hoyt Axton Country Western Boogie Woogie Gospel Rock and Roll Show. C, when she recorded her first hit Delta Dawn, she was only 13 years old. Or D, her 2017 single Forever Loving You was a tribute to her former lover, Glenn Campbell.
All right, so which of these is false?
Which of these is false? All of these are true except one.
All right, I think the Glenn Campbell thing is true because I think she was involved with him, I think. And I think she was a teenager when she did Delta Dawn. She was very young. and then Bette Midler did a cover of it. So that leaves, and it's on her. I think it's on her first. It was a big hit for Bette. So that leaves. Was she on the Hoyt Axton Boogie Woogie Gospel?
Get it right. It's the Hoyt Axton Country Western Boogie Woogie Gospel Rock and Roll Show.
Okay, and what was the first one?
In 1998, a routine facelift went wrong and left her without a sense of smell for the next 2 years.
Okay, all right. I think that, well, so I think it's the Hoyt Axton or the Sense of Smell one. And you, knowing you, it could be the Hoyt Axton Boogie Woogie Gospel thing without just some little detail that's different. So I will say the Hoyt Axton thing is false.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, I Hoyt-axed the question, and I'm afraid you did not get it correct, David. So we have a steal opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to roll the die, and it comes up number 4, which is David's direct number, but is closer, if we're rolling on the circle, backwards to Mischa. Mischa, would you like to try and steal this question?
Well, I guess I'm going to use the knowledge that David already gave me and say the one about the facelift.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, Mischa, let's face it. You're on the board with 2 points. Yes.
Thank you, David.
I overthought that. Oh well.
Little bit. Well, here's the deal. Here's what there really was. First of all, I just had to get in that it really was called the Hoyt Axton Country Western Boogie Woogie Gospel Rock and Roll Show, and she was on it. But she didn't have a facelift in 1998 or anything like that. It was true that in 2008 and 8, a routine chemical peel went wrong and nearly burned her face off.
Oh,
so that did happen, but
but she can still smell.
Yeah, no, there's nothing that I made that part up. In fact, she smells terrible because Thank you very much.
Oh, Mr. Peabody.
Yes, watch out, Mischa. Falling pun.
We do that. Congratulations, Mischa. You are on the board with 2 points, leading the today-yesterday game. Oh my goodness, this is exciting. But hey, Leslie hasn't gone yet with her question. She could tie you up with this. And if you've ever been tied up, you know how delightful that can be. Leslie, we have a question for you. It's also a multiple choice. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
The year, 1896 was the year. Remember, all these things happened on November 27th.
Yes, I remember that year very well, David. Go ahead.
Me too. Debuting in Frankfurt tonight is Richard Strauss's tone poem, Also sprach Zarathustra, inspired by the writings of Friedrich Nietzsche. Which of these is not the title of another book by Nietzsche? A, Fear and Trembling. B, Human, All Too Human. C, The Gay Science. Or D, The Antichrist.
This is Nietzsche?
Nietzsche, yes. Mm-hmm. One of these is not.
He was a real comic, Nietzsche. He really had the
He's a funny guy, yeah.
Titles. All right, you got to tell me one more time because those are heavy titles.
Which is false?
Which one of these is not a book by Friedrich Nietzsche? A, Fear and Trembling. B, Human, All Too Human. C, The Gay Science. Or D, The Antichrist.
Okay, C is too easy. I mean, I'm sure you threw that in just to obfuscate things. So I'm looking for the one that isn't a real title.
Correct.
Knowing his Superman theory, I don't know it. I mean, I know of it.
Well, he always thought that Margot Kidder was the best Lois Lane.
Yes, right. That's the. I'm going to say Human, All Too Human because he did not. He had no truck with human. Things had to be super and ultra. So I'm gonna. That's my rationale for saying that. I'm gonna go with C. Human, All Too.
Well, that's B. Human, All Too Human is B. But
I'm gonna go with B then. In that case, okay.
Is that your final answer?
It's a calculated risk. Yes.
Well, Leslie Hoban Blake, you're only human after all, and humans make mistakes, just like you just have. I'm afraid you're not getting that particular question right. Oh my God, we have a steal opportunity. We come.
Guess who's going to get it, Mischa?
Oh,
Well, guess what? Wait, hold it. Sorry. Haven't done this in front of Mischa. That was a number 2. So number 2 comes up, which is closest to Mischa's number. Mischa,
See, I said you'd get it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, read me them again. It's not a Nietzsche title. Okay.
Which of these is not a book by Nietzsche? A, Fear and Trembling. C, The Gay Science. Or D, The Antichrist. As opposed to the Uncle Christ.
I don't know. I'm just going to go with The Gay Science.
Is that your...
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I get to make a joke. Good. Well, appropriately enough for gay science, you blew it. So that is not the correct answer. David Sheward.
all right.
You have a 50-50 shot here.
All right. That's kind of upsetting because I know there is a book called The Gay Science.
It was by Nietzsche. Yeah.
I wasn't sure that Nietzsche wrote it or not. All right. So that leaves Fear and Trembling or The Antichrist.
Correct.
And Fear and Trembling is A and The Antichrist is D, right?
Yes.
I'm going to say The Antichrist.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Ah, Jesus Christ. You're wrong. I stumped the panel.
Oh.
He did write a book called The Antichrist.
Oh.
Fear and Trembling?
Yeah, which was by Soren Kierkegaard. So, as of course you knew.
I thought it was by Neil Simon.
Oh!
I did it in Summerstock in that for shit place, right?
So, Mischa leading the game 2-0. So, top of the world there.
All right.
But now, Mischa, you actually can add to your lead. Because this next question goes to you, the last question on our first round.
Okay.
2 more points if you get this right. But
Wait. Oh,
What?
yes, I'm sorry. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's her question in her own right.
I know, I'm so confused now because
She got
she
to-
Wanted
She-
another turn.
She got
I
this-
know.
Wanted another turn.
So here's the, oh, whoa, damn. Do you have any Sondheim posters on your behind you there? Is there a company one?
I don't think I have a Sondheim show up here. No.
Wow. Okay, just curious. Anyway, Mischa, a couple of the questions that we do in the quiz are a little different. They're not all multiple choice, and some of them are fill in. But this one's the weirdest kind of one.
Oh boy.
Thank you, dear. My wife, ladies and gentlemen. It's something called 3 Clues in the News. And what that is I'm going to say 3 words.
Just tell her it's like I don't know, a Mad Lib or like a fill in the blank.
Kind of more like a fill in the blank, because what it's going to be, the words are not connected to each other. Each of the 3 words is connected to the word that we are looking for.
They share a common word.
For example, here's an example, like, that's the one I usually use.
Couch.
Sweet, couch, vegetable, and the word we'd be looking for is potato.
Potato.
Right, sweet potato, couch potato.
Do I get 2 points? That was a good one. I got that.
Wow. The Dr. Sue came out.
I was
fast.
going to say, don't be a doctor.
That's an in-joke.
Tell her that there was a guest who always tried to get points for everything. That's the fact.
Right, yes, yeah. We love her. She's great, but you know,
You were quick
Yeah, I
to
mentioned
to
this.
get that.
She has a little talking bear she goes in the park with, like
Mhm.
a friend, right?
No, we love Dr. Sue, but that's been kind of one of the little in-jokes of the game. But here's the
I
deal.
noticed Dr. Sue has not been on the show
I
again.
know.
So,
Yeah.
that's how much we love her. Go ahead.
Good heart. She would do it.
Yeah.
She's a good woman.
No, she's great. So, but here's the deal, Mischa. So now you know what the rule is. So it might be word blank or blank word. The 3 words are not connected to each other. They're connected to the word that we're looking for. Are you ready?
Ready.
The words are
Oh boy.
hit, float, ground.
Hit.
David.
Float. Ground.
Okay.
Ground. Hit.
It's hit.
Oh, Leslie's nodding her head. I think she may have. Don't say it, Leslie.
What is it? The words are hit?
Float, ground. Oh, and I should mention that these three clues are related, sometimes not so directly, to things that are in the news recently. So
Okay.
something that's in the news.
Okay. In the news right now. Hit. Boat.
Oh.
Ground.
My wife just got it, so yeah.
Homer killed a chipmunk. Think of the news. Think of what's happening.
Oh, David knows it. You're gonna give it away, man.
Think of the news. Think of the news.
I'm gonna need an answer.
When did those things happen? When did those things? What involves those bad?
I mean,
Joyce, hush.
No extra hints. No
You
extra
just gave her a hint. You just did it, Dave. I think you were giving her a hint, but I'm not sure.
No, he was making it out.
All right. I'll hand it over.
Well, you want to mention
Make a
anything?
guess.
Tell her. So
Misha, make a guess.
Misha, if she doesn't have an answer, promote a show, promote your film,
promote your website. Yeah, just say Unbridled or
MischaDani.com. That's my answer.
Okay, that is not the correct answer, however. So we're gonna spin the die. We're gonna roll the die. I can hit this.
Getting on the board.
Hello, thank you. Oh, so it came up number 6. So Leslie, you directly get a chance to steal. You were nodding.
It's parade.
You didn't have it, David?
Yeah, I did, but
Well, I got it, David. Sorry.
Oh my God!
I stayed quiet all that time.
Yeah. So because hit parade, parade
it.
float, and of course,
But you know, Misha, sometimes it either comes or it doesn't. And sometimes
That's what
more you think it doesn't have at all.
That duck was supposed to be in the parade.
That's your
I was wondering why you were running across your lips, David. I don't even.
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh.
I was watching the Thanksgiving Saturday Night Live thing that they had, and look at that! Look at that! There it goes. And they had the most brilliant thing. I don't remember this. They had people as life-size dummies as balloons. And they were outside a window where kids are watching. I don't know how they did it. I mean, obviously, blue
when they were
light,
interacting with people, was that the
blue background? And first they were just floats, but you saw that they were the people from the show. And then the balloons turned ugly, and they were coming for the people, and they were coming at you. It was hysterical. It was so funny and so clever. Oh. God.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of ugly, I wrote this joke before even the Thanksgiving Day, but this was basically about the Waukesha, Wisconsin guy who drove into a parade.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was like less than a week ago, if you can imagine. It's just time.
Yeah, well, this parade was just in the news 2 days ago, so that was.
Yeah, no, you can't.
By the way, excuse me for. Is your play coming up this weekend? You told me it was going to be released on online because
we're waiting. I think because it's a holiday weekend, they haven't done it, so they're going to take the whole.
Because
Yeah, Les.
Go ahead.
No, you saw. Yeah, you tried watching it, but I think you may have tuned in a little.
I missed it. I got there like 20 minutes late. But I did get to see you make jokes in the little blurb as it went by.
Yes, my nipple
joke.
Yeah.
Yes, the nipple
I'm
joke.
Mr. Nipples now. That's going to be my forever. Oh, the nipple guy. Like, great, thanks.
The nipple guy. It should only. David Olivine, you should walk down the street and people should come up and say, "Oh, you're the nipple guy." That would be fabulous.
Not if they're police. Not if they're looking for a pedophile. And you say, "Oh, there's the nipple guy." It's like, no! I do not want that. Anywho, but thank you, Leslie. And as I said, I was hoping by today they would have posted the.
Yeah, I was hoping to be able to watch it.
Of it.
I was thinking you and Janet Jackson and was it Justin Bieber? Who was the guy with her?
Was it? Yeah.
Was it Bieber?
Nipplegate was it Bieber?
Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. I know it was a Justin. I couldn't get the right one.
Are they the same person?
No, very different.
Here's the deal, folks. We finished the first round of our Today Yesterday quiz with Leslie and Mischa tied at 2. David Sheward in the background there, but he's a hell of a competitor. You could tell he had that parade question.
Doesn't Mischa have 4? Didn't she get 2 right?
No.
She got.
No,
No, Leslie got the
You're right,
last
we
one.
missed-
She got the three
Oh,
clues.
you're right. There was one we all.
But I gotta say, it's the girls against the boy, Misha.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's not right.
Girls who do.
Well, Misha, what you don't know is that, and you weren't here last week. We tied, David. Last week, Vicky and I tied,
Oh,
which
great.
has never
Vicky
happened
Crotty,
before. We had a tie game, and then we couldn't get the tiebreaker question. But David is, I would say, what, 85% winner overall.
David, yeah. Well,
I say that because I have won a few times, but not in anywhere near as many times as David.
David is like
He's the one to beat.
still
What?
Counting.
So if we
let's see.
form an alliance, as in
Yeah.
Big Brother, look at that. Stay close like that. That's nice.
So here we go.
If we form
My
an
turn.
alliance, that's not a bad thing,
All right. Well,
That's it. I'm finished.
there could be
Go ahead.
strategy involved. You could help each other, but not David, or vice versa. Or
We don't help each other. I can just root for you, and you can root for
That,
me.
yeah, that would be acceptable.
Okay, that's fair.
We're not going to give any clues.
We'll move on.
Well,
to
let's
our
see
second-
how we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see
Move
how
on
we
to our
go.
second round
Right?
of the game.
Whoa.
So
She's
here
cagey.
goes.
She plays all her cards. Okay.
3 more
yes.
questions, each one worth 2 points. David Sheward going first. So David, you can tie.
We're in round 2, right?
This begins round 2. Here we go.
Okay. Okay.
And
Oh, Vicky said hello, Leslie. Girls rule.
Hi, good morning, Vicky.
Who's here when we don't have a third?
Okay.
Vicky is actually watching us.
Yes,
Vicky,
some
Vicky,
people
wow.
enjoy the show.
Well, you know,
That's fantastic.
Watching, and sometimes she plays along, but she's tired from doing all her performances.
Stan is
Yeah.
watching, all these wonderful people. We actually have an audience. Believe it, it's a shock to me. But here's the deal, David Sheward.
Yes.
The year was 1911 for this multiple choice question.
Oh, he knows.
Okay.
It was the first reported case of spectators at an event throwing rotten fruit and vegetables to express their displeasure. What was the circumstance?
Okay.
A, Richmond losing to Georgetown 65-0 in college football. B, the Folies Bergère and its new dancers opening on Broadway.
Ooh.
C, the New York premiere of the play Playboy of the Western World. Or D, New York Highlander Ty Cobb rushing into the stands to attack a heckler.
Interesting. Well, I don't think it's A, because we've already had 2 questions where A was the answer. And even though you say there's no pattern, it wouldn't make sense for you to have 3 A's in a row. And I do remember reading in high school, we were reading Playboy the Western World. And I do remember hearing that it caused a big controversy, that people were kind of upset about certain things. Because it portrayed the Irish as, being barefoot and rustic. So it's
And drunk.
and drunk.
Yeah, but that's a given. Yeah.
That hasn't gone away.
So the choices are. Give me the choices again.
A, Richmond losing to Georgetown 65-0 in college football. B, Folies Bergère and its new dancers opening on Broadway. New York premiere of the play Playboy of the Western World. Or D, Ty Cobb rushing into the stands to attack a heckler.
I think it's C. I think it's Playboy the Western World.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, David Sheward, you are the Playboy centerfold. You got that right. It was controversial in Ireland. And then New Yorkers, the Irish got all head up about it, about the way they were portraying it. Come on, Misha.
There you go.
Hello, Misha.
Sorry, my AirPods died, so I had to go.
And I think
I had
that,
to go phone.
and I think it doesn't make sense for Ty Cobb to. I mean, I don't doubt that he did that, but if he rushes into the stands, then it does. I don't think they would be throwing vegetables.
They wouldn't have fruit and vegetables back then. It'd be hot dogs.
But here's the thing. Obviously, they had to have fruit and vegetables with them in order to throw them. So I thought that it actually happened in the olden days, when they had like the Yiddish theater and they had the Italian theater. My old theater on East 4th Street, the New York Theater Ensemble, actually had Scorsese shot his Italian theater scenes there. It was long before my time there, but because it had such beautiful murals on the wall and whatnot. And those people, the lower class people, quote, the lower class people, brought food with them to eat.
Oh.
So it was my thought that started when somebody didn't like something. They were eating a sandwich, they throw a piece of food at somebody. But I don't know about the Playboy. This is new to me, so I'm.
The Irish probably were throwing potatoes at like cabbage and potatoes at the
But the Irish would have been eating if there were an Irish theater. I don't know, but if there were, they would have been eating in the stand in the.
Or they could have just been coming home from the supermarket.
They could have, yeah, exactly.
Il n'y a pas de supermarché. Il n'y a pas de supermarché.
Or Traeger Ojo's back then.
Yes, right. Very funny.
By the way, there's no vegetables involved, but in 1912, Ty Cobb did rush the stands to attack somebody. So that really happened.
No doubt.
Yeah. Anywho, what's also beyond a doubt is that we have a 3-way tie. Yes! Yes, this is so exciting. And we're only into the second round of the game. Oh, yes, Leslie.
Do either of you remember that wonderful one-man play called Cobb? It wasn't one man. There were actually 3 men.
Yeah.
There was a Cobb on each base. It was 3 men.
It was kind of corny with all those Cobbs. Thank you. Yes.
It was at the Lortel, and Kevin Spacey was one of the producers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was good. I don't remember, but
it was wonderful. Yeah. I thought it was great.
I think the cast won an ensemble award for a drama desk award for ensemble.
Yeah. I don't even know if I was in the drama desk then. I just remember seeing the play.
Yeah, and they actually did it with a Native American cast later on. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's a stretch.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's a stretch.
All the actors were Husky, so. Husky.
A friend of mine, who you both may have met at my party, a friend of mine who's an actress, Perry Gaffney, went to Plymouth Rock on Thursday and protested with the Native Americans.
Oh, okay.
It was I thought that really
she was protesting a vaccine mandate, so I don't get it. No, I'm kidding.
But I thought it was really upping the game from serving food in a food pantry. I think actually going to Plymouth Rock on Thanksgiving, if you want to do, it was you when you said when you made all the jokes. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, please throw that in. That's cool. Anyway, what I want to throw in is that we're up to our next question. That Leslie goes to you. So if you get 2 points, you can take the lead in the game. Guess what, Leslie? You get 3 clues in the news.
Of course I do. Because when I get them, Mischa, I never know what they are. I only know when it's somebody else's because the pressure is on. Yeah. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Dave.
You'll know how this works.
26 is my very all-time best number. It's my most lucky number, so I have to win today. Having said that, I will lose big time. Go ahead.
26? What?
You have to number 26 behind your head.
Oh, yeah. I think it's actually 826. But yes, okay. Here we go. I missed that completely. 3 clues in the news. Here we go. These are the words. Shelf. Coach. Cycle. And Mischa, no fair looking on your phone for the answer.
No, I'm writing down.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You are my phone. You're on my phone right now.
Yeah.
No, you're on a telephone. Okay, cool.
Coach, cycle.
Shelf,
better camera on my phone than my computer.
Cycle, and the middle one was what?
The 3 words are shelf, coach, cycle.
Coach.
We turned into a silent movie for a moment. I love it.
This is the one where I need a little silence because I can't think of anything. Coach is the one that's confusing me because the only word that comes up with that is bag, and that's wrong.
Wait, whose question is it?
It's my question.
Leslie's to answer.
Leslie's question. Okay.
So I'm thinking out loud. Sorry.
What's the question?
Life. L-I-F-E, life.
Is that your final answer?
It's the one that just blew into my mind, and I'm going to go with it.
Oh my Lord.
Every day a little life in the question, in the quiz. Yes! Leslie Hoban Blake, that is the correct answer. The word.
Yeah, I had that too.
It is the game of like.
But it just suddenly came like that. I was thinking and thinking, and then it was just there.
What's the connection? What's the connection with the news?
Well, first of all, shelf life, life coach, life cycle.
Right.
That's what we were going for. 3 men. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's 3 men got life sentences.
Oh yes, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, did they sentence them?
Well,
they were sentenced to life on the first set of charges. Now they're going to get civil charges coming up.
I know.
No. They're getting imprisonment. The question is, do they have parole or not? That's the only thing.
I know that they were found guilty, but did they get? Did the judge?
Oh yeah, they got life.
The judge passed the sentence.
Well, wait. Here's the deal. No matter what, they're getting life in prison.
Mandatory.
It's whether or not they get opportunity of parole or not that the judge has to sentence. But they're definitely getting life in prison.
Oh.
No matter what. That's
frozen. Oh no,
she's there. So here's the deal.
I was going to say if Leslie couldn't think of it, and it came to me, I was going to sing that verse from The Ladies Who Lunch. Yeah. Here's to the girls who play wife. Aren't they too much? Keeping house but clutching a copy of life. Just to keep
in touch. Yes. Perfect. Oh.
That was great. Follow the rules. Yeah. Okay.
I would cast you in my non-traditional version.
Well,
non-traditional, it wouldn't be Bobby. Then he might be.
No, but why not a male Joanna? Why not a guy named Joe? It doesn't make any difference.
And have a gay relationship with Larry and.
Of course. Why not?
Why not? Well, here's the deal. Leslie Hoban Blake, you're calling the shots right now because you are in front 4 points to 2. But the game's not over. We're only halfway through the game.
Do I not? Wait. I don't mean to be Dr. Sue. I only have 4 points.
Yes. You got.
Okay, no. I somehow thought I had 4 before, and I was getting 2 more. Okay, never mind.
No, you got 4.
I can't keep track. My mind is like a sieve, so that's that.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. Mischa can retie the game if she gets this multiple choice question right about an event that happened in 1978. Are you ready, Mischa?
She wasn't born.
Before Mischa was even
first. Leslie second. Mischa's third in this.
Okay, all right.
So this is the end of the second round.
Okay, go ahead.
Mischa,
off my pen.
Ready.
1978 was the year. Oh, this is a fun one. Murdered today in San Francisco are Mayor George Moscone and Board Supervisor Harvey Milk. According to drinkmilk.com, which of these is not true about milk?
Oh.
A, adding a pinch of salt will help milk stay fresh for longer. B, 80% of the cheese made in Serbia comes from donkey milk because it's cheaper and locals prefer its strong taste. C, a female platypus feeds her young directly from her skin because platypuses don't have nipples. Purposely adding in. Putting sell-by dates on milk was a practice started by Al Capone.
Whoa.
One of these is not true about milk. Is false about milk.
English, David, in England.
Al Capone.
Mischa, he can repeat everything for you if you need it.
Yeah, I will read them.
Yeah,
again.
repeat them, please, if you don't mind.
All of these are true about milk, except one is false. Is it A, adding a pinch of salt will help milk stay fresher for longer? B, 80% of the cheese made in Serbia comes from donkey milk because it's cheaper and locals prefer its strong taste? C, a female platypus feeds her young directly from her skin because platypuses don't have nipples? Or D, putting sell-by dates on milk was a practice started by Al Capone?
I feel like the last two are a little too specific to be false. The second one, the milk thing is tricking me out because it's like salt and like preserving things and making them saltier, keeps them good for longer, but it's also like a liquid. And then what was the second one? What was B?
B was 80% of the cheese made in Serbia comes from donkey milk because it's cheaper and locals prefer its strong taste.
Donkey?
Yes. Don't make an error.
Donkeys make milk?
All mammals.
Well, I don't.
Is it drinkable?
We can't help you, Mischa. That's
All right, I'm gonna say A. I think that's a little weird. I've never heard that before.
So you're saying it is not true that adding a pinch of salt to milk will help it stay fresher for longer is not.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to be lactose intolerant to you, Mischa, but that is not the correct answer. So we're going to roll the die. Oh, Mischa, you're not going to tie the game yet. We're going to roll this die and see what we come up with. A number 1. So 1 is closest to Mischa, but second closest. Am I right about this? To David?
Yes.
Yes, David Sheward.
Unless we're going in the circle,
Oh,
in which case
this
it's
is why I
closest
hate
to
the
6.
circle. All right, wait.
Oh, it's a 1?
Yes.
All right. Well, those are the rules we agreed to. Okay. So Leslie is 6, right?
What is Leslie? Leslie,
So-
this is your question. See, this is.
All right. Go ahead.
I don't know the answer, but okay.
Circle of numbers.
So we have B, C, D left.
That is correct. You have B, C, or D left.
Oh, Vicky said
D is Al Capone. Let me just see what I remember. D is Al Capone.
you know.
B is Harvey Milk, and C is
No, the
I don't
question is
remember.
Harvey Milk. What? Yeah.
B was Harvey Milk. C was what?
Wait. B. The whole question was started with Harvey Milk. B is 80% of the cheese made in Serbia comes from donkey milk.
Oh, that's
The-
B.
not
Okay,
Harvey,
so-
Harvey and donkey are different things. C is about the platypus not
Oh,
having.
gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
And D was, what was D?
D was putting
Al Capone.
sell-by dates on milk.
Al
Was
Capone.
started by
Al
Al Capone.
Platypus nipple?
Donkey milk. Donkey milk. Just the thought of it makes me.
That's the new Sondheim show that was cut from Follies. Donkey Milk, Platypus Nipples, and Al Capone.
That's more of a
I've
Jerry
been-
Herman kind of a number, though. I think.
I've been through Donkey Milk. I've been through Al Capone. And I'm here.
All right,
Nipples
come
on
on now. Let me
platypus.
have my go at this.
Nipples on
As
platypus.
crazy as it is, I'm gonna say that it's donkey milk in Serbia, and I'll tell you why if it's right.
Oh, but only if it's right. Okay, all
If
right.
it's right.
Final.
This is to be This is to be what isn't. This is not true.
This is not true.
Not true. Oh, all right. Well, then that should really be D, shouldn't it? Not true. Should really be D. But I'll go. D, oh boy. I'm going to go with D. I changed my number. I'm going with the obvious one, D.
So the sell-by
That means-
dates, Al Capone, not
Not.
true.
Not.
Well. Wait, I'm trying to think of a pun here.
How about this milk is sour. I'm gonna
I'm afraid to go
hey,
gangsta on
Hey
you.
Louis, stop putting sell-by dates on this milk.
That's so they could sell.
How did a Monty Python get into Chicago in 1911?
By the way, Leslie, that is not the correct answer. So, David Sheward, you've got a 50-50 shot here
Right.
of
Boy.
taking the co-lead on this
Well,
question.
I think that because I remember I was sitting with Al and we was talking about milk, and we were saying, it would be a good idea to put sell-by dates on these things, So that leaves what? What's left?
What's left, and I'm taking your accent, 80% of the cheese made in Serbia comes from donkey milk because it's cheaper, and locals prefer its strong
And the
taste.
platypus nipples.
Platypus.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
So if I agree with that, I think that platypuses do have nipples, right?
Right. Well,
Okay.
if you think it's false, then yes.
I think that's false. And it's also because we had 2 A's and we had a C. So I think we got another C coming. So I'll say the platypus nipples
Is not true.
is not true. I think platypuses does have nipples.
Platypie. Platypie.
This man teaches.
Yeah. Because we was making some platypus milk the other day and it got sour.
Ah.
Just milking them platypuses and it got sour real quick. So I said, hey, Al, put some sell-by dates on that platypus milk.
Okay.
That's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
a good idea. I'm going to call Elliot Ness about that.
We good here? Okay. Well, I can't think of something a disgusting pun to make. So believe it or not, I have stumped the panel once again because platypuses apparently do not have nipples. The children suck like under the feathers in the skin or whatever. They get the milk that way. That is true. Also
wait,
true. Yeah.
Oh, so they do not have nipples.
They do
get
not have
the
nipples.
Oh, I mean
They
the
really
fur.
don't. Yeah. The Al Capone basically wanted to get into a more legit, what do you call, enterprise than
Line of work.
Business, yeah, right.
went into milk. He
Oh, wow, how about
cornered
that?
the market on milk because it had to be stamped with the sell-by date that he created to do it.
Wow.
And he ended up to raise the money to buy all the milk production stuff. He kidnapped a guy, and they got $50,000. So he wasn't quite that legit, but that was true. But here's the deal about the donkeys. Donkey, I know you made a face, Leslie, but donkey milk makes the most rare and expensive cheese in the world.
Like goat milk.
It is made in Serbia, comes from donkey milk, but donkey milk is apparently really difficult to make into cheese. So when they can
I
do
thought
it,
you were going to say it was really difficult to milk a donkey, which was
Well,
the other way to go.
it does have a kick, but anyway.
My
Yeah.
sister just reconnected on Facebook. She is on Facebook with with her best friend in high school who became my brother's girlfriend. And it broke up their relationship. And she found her on Facebook. My brother died 7 years ago. And it's so crazy because there's a picture. She's living in Serbia, of all things.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a woman of some age at this point. And she was a beautiful girl. She don't look that hot no more. And I imagine it's from drinking donkey milk.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Okay, got it. Yeah. Is this story going to have a point?
I just wanted to get my digs in because she was not kind to my brother.
Did she check the sell-by date before she drank that donkey
She's
milk?
past her sell-by date, that's for sure. There
It's
you go.
written in Serbian. Who the hell knows?
Well, you gotta serve somebody. Lord knows you gotta serve.
Oh, good one.
I apologize for that. So here's the deal. We still have a game that is being led by Leslie Hoban Blake with 4 points, but Mischa and David are only 2 points.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. So congratulations to all of you for being so great so far. But lots of things can happen in the third round of our Yesterday trivia.
Lots more talking and
yeah, they're basically
bad puns, Mischa. That's what's
time
going on.
wasting.
All right.
I haven't even gotten to use the snail yet. I love my little snail.
Oh, is that new?
Newish. I got it when I got this. Or Joyce.
Oh, it came together. Oh.
And they were very happy.
Why don't you use that for when someone gets it right? Why don't you just applaud with that?
I should.
Not that I want to direct you, David, or anything, but
All
you
right.
know.
All right,
Well,
my turn.
The thing is for when someone is final answer, but this can be like when we have a.
You got it right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the harmonica. What should I use the harmonica?
I
for?
prefer the suspense,
Oh, okay.
The harmonica could be
And
for
wear
the final
suspenders.
one where they write.
Oh, that's good. That's time for round 3. By the way, it's almost 11:30 in Eastern time in the Daverhood. You're watching.
What day is it? Wait a minute. What day is it?
27th.
It's still Sunday. It's still November. November 27th, by the way.
Tell us the story of Dave's gone by.
Once upon a time, I wanted to do a radio show. So here's the deal. It's our 826. We're calling it, by the way, Mischamerica. Get it? Mischa.
Ah.
Oh, cute girl.
Yay. Nice tribute.
So here's the deal.
Nice trivia.
It's not speaking of anything. David Sheward, you will begin round 3 and the final round of our Yesterday trivia quiz. Remember, folks, that these questions, most of them have to do with things that happened on November 27th in history, and most of them are multiple choice. So, David Sheward, do you have a multiple choice?
Just before you give David his question, Joyce, do you have a real theremin, or is that a recording of a theremin?
You want to hold up the thing? Is it on this one?
That weird sci-fi noise is a theremin.
It's from the NBC.
That.
This row.
It sounds like.
Sci-fi.
Oh, I thought it was from the.
No, obviously, she doesn't have a theremin.
I thought it was from the.
No, but it went right by, so never mind.
I thought it was from the NBC Sunday Mystery Movie with McLeod and Macmillan and wife.
Yeah, but these things are great. You can do like.
Tell Leslie I had it removed.
Oh,
I'm a girl now. I had it removed.
that's one of my favorites.
Does it have the Law and Order noise?
I don't know if we have Chichol.
No. I believe that the Law and Order noise is actually copyrighted, and you can't use it without paying the copyright.
Wow.
It's like the Nike swish.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like
All right.
whatever. Anyway,
All right.
Chew it.
I'm ready.
I don't want to touch
I've been ready
the
for the
Nike
past.
swish
I've been
with
ready
a
for the.
10-foot pole.
I've been ready for the past 5 minutes.
I was saying, all right. 1987 was the year. Here we go. A 22-year-old English man broke up with his girlfriend today, but that was just the beginning. As reported by Reuters, what else happened that day? A. That afternoon, he and the girl reconciled, only to break up again during dinner, get back together again in the evening, but then break up again violently before midnight. B. He was arrested for putting up hundreds of flyers with her photo and the word heartbreaker on them. C. He tried to commit suicide 7 times and failed. Or D. He was arrested for driving to her parents' house, taking all his clothes off, and lying in front of their front door until police were called.
This is which of these is true?
Only one of these is
Thank
true.
God.
Okay, it's not a pitch meeting for an Adam Sandler movie.
No, it is
It
not.
will be now, David.
Yeah, they all sound like, well, then he's got the next couple of movies for the next 5 years all lined up.
Thank you. They hire me to write them. I'd be in good shape. Okay.
All right, so let's see. Which of these is true?
One of these is true about this 22-year-old English man who broke up.
They're
with
all
her.
stupid enough to be true.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And there's no pattern here because we've got 2 A's, a C, and a B. So there's no pattern of correct answers. So did he try to commit suicide 7 times? Did he break up with her, get together again and break up with her like 3 or 4 times in the same night? Did he put her poster up with the word heartbreaker, or did he take all his clothes off and lie in front of her house until the police were called? We haven't. Well, that one, the last one with the line taking the. Well, it could be any one. They're all crazy enough. The committing. I don't know about the committing suicide 7 times. Okay, I'm just going to go with my first instincts, which is to be naked and lie in front of the house. D.
Is that your final answer?
We're saying which one is true, right?
Only one of these is true.
I'm going to say that's true.
Well, David Sheward, the naked truth is you are not correct. I'm afraid that is not what happened. So I am going to roll the die, and we have an opportunity.
Dave Lefkowitz sits up for hours every night making these up for this once a week quiz, just so you know.
Isn't that tragic? But here's the deal. It comes up with a number 5, which is between Leslie and David. But since it was David's question, Leslie, who already had the lead.
I'm making out like a bandit on all of these stolen questions.
Let's see. Well,
that was a joke.
We'll make it like a bandit. Well, no, I'm getting it.
Making out like a bandit on the stolen questions. Thank you.
I get it. Okay.
Good one.
Thank you. Not if you have to say it again. Not if you have to explain it. You got to explain it. It ain't no good. Go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
No, it's your question. You do need me to read the choices?
What did he? Which letter did he guess?
David guessed incorrectly that it was D.
D. I guessed D.
D. Thank you. Okay. So we have the. I'm going to forget what letters they are. We have the multiple suicides, the multiple breakups, or the posting of the picture with the word heartbreaker, which sounds perfectly normal to me. I could see doing that. That's not over the top, really. Is putting up how many posters? Did it say
Hundreds.
how many?
Hundreds.
I could see doing that, although I think that's a very feminine one to do. I think that women would have a tendency more to do that kind of thing. I would do that. That would be my first choice. I would not lie naked anywhere, not even in my own house. So that one is that's. What year was this?
1987.
So there were Xerox machines. He could have made hundreds and hundreds of pictures of her with the word heartbreaker. My God, what's her name? Katie. What is her name? The singer, the most famous singer in the world right now.
Lady Gaga?
Adele or Taylor Swift?
Boy, you guys, Swift.
Oh yeah, not Katie. Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift makes a living singing about her ex-boyfriend, so it's not unusual.
It's not unusual to be.
Yeah, I know. Before it was out of my mouth, I knew that was there. Okay.
That's what she said.
So I have. Same to you. Okay. I'm going to go with the one that's true. Is the posters with the name Heartbreaker on it?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Which means it's wrong, of course.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken, Leslie, because that is not the correct answer. So, Mischa Dani.
My friend Mischa, be my guest.
I'm gonna go with the suicide 7 times.
Is that your? So that is a true thing. That's what.
Yes. Yep.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Oh wait, no. You killed it. You killed it, Mischa. Yes, indeed, you did. Well done,
David. What letter was that?
It was C. That was the letter C. Just for those of you at home keeping score.
Just playing your game. I'm trying to play this game and David's game at the same time. Okay.
Yeah,
so here's the whole story. Here's what happened. This guy broke up with his girlfriend. So the distraught lover threw himself at different times at 4 cars and at a truck, tried to strangle himself, and then tried to jump out of a window. He was fine, minor injuries. One of the car drivers suffered a heart attack that he threw himself in front of, and 2 policemen were injured trying to restrain him. The man who was not named was treated for minor injuries. Interesting day for the guy. True story from Reuters there. So there you go.
Bit emotional, don't you think, for a British lad? I mean, quite emotional there.
Yeah. Yeah, usually.
Right.
Oh, she dumped me. Oh, dear. Oh, well. Oh, well.
Right.
Shall I slip my wrist? No. I'm
Right.
going to have a cuppa. But here's the deal. We have a couple of people who are tied right now. Mischa and Leslie tied at 4 points. David still with 2 points. We could wind up with a tie by the end of the 3rd round. I mean, anything can still happen.
Joyce, ask Vicky if it's deja vu all over again.
From last week, yeah.
But it's still.
I know.
Mischa still has her question,
It's
right?
it's still anybody's
guess. So here's the Leslie Hoban Blake. No, this question goes to you. Are you ready?
To moi? Okay.
Yeah, don't even. All right. Here's another multiple choice. 2017 was the year. Released. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize how. Released from prison today in New Delhi, as opposed to the old Delhi that I go to for brisket. In New Delhi are 8 donkeys. The animals were detained for 4 days because they ate a bunch of expensive plants outside of the prison, even though the owner had been warned about keeping them loose. Which of these is false about donkeys? Yeah, okay.
They make milk in Serbia.
That's right, they have no nipple. A, in the desert, a donkey can hear another donkey from up to 60 miles away. B, in Ethiopia, a common saying is, a farmer without a donkey becomes a donkey. C, in Peru, fast food restaurants serve patties made with donkey meat unless you specifically request beef. Or D, in 2017, China suffered a donkey shortage because their skins were being boiled to make medicine.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so donkeys in India was the first one?
The first one is in a desert. A donkey can hear another donkey from 60 miles away. B, in Ethiopia, a common saying is, a farmer without a donkey becomes a donkey. C, in Peru, fast food restaurants serve patties made with donkey meat unless you specifically request beef. Or D, in 2017, China suffered a donkey shortage because their skins were being boiled to make medicine.
Well, that was their damn second donkey rule. That's what happened there.
That's good.
Went right past you.
No,
Okay.
that was funny. I was laughing. I got that.
I saw it. I saw the reaction.
Okay, you saw it. I'm not looking though. Quick question.
Yes.
Which is true or which is false?
Okay, all of these are true except one of these is
okay. So in the desert, blah blah blah.
that was the exact wording of the question. In the desert, blah blah blah. True or false? Yeah.
in the desert. The second one was Yugoslavia, I think.
Where did you come up with Yugoslavia? Ethiopia. You're so culturally sensitive, Leslie.
The last one is China, about the skins, and the one in, which one is the patties?
Patties was letter C.
No, what country?
Oh, I'm so sorry. In Peru, fast food restaurants.
Okay, Peru. Which one is not true?
Yes.
My brain hurts. The second one is?
The second one, B, is in Ethiopia, a common saying is a farmer without a donkey becomes a donkey.
Actually, that's the truest thing I heard on all of this. That to me is the one that's absolutely true. Whether it's from Ethiopia or not, I don't know, but I can imagine that that's a truism. So I'm going to go with the donkey skins in China. I'm going to go with D.
Okay, that's letter D. That is not true.
Yeah, well, obviously I missed because you're not ringing the tambourines.
Oh shit! See, I can't start doing the tambourine. Yeah,
that's what I said. I ask if that's the final question.
Well, so it was a bad idea.
I'm
sorry. I have those.
No, I meant you didn't. You were going to ring the thing to say, "Is that your final answer?"
Is that your final answer? Well, there you go. Okay. No, but it's wrong. Okay, fine. All right, here we go. Anytime we throw a new wrinkle into the game.
Yeah, I didn't think that would work.
All right, here's the deal. So you said, and as gross as it sounds, that is true. In China, they boil the donkey skins to use a certain medicine.
I'm surprised they don't boil the second children to make the medication in China.
That second children thing. Anywho, here we go. We're going to roll the die. It comes up number 1. Now we have this. One is close to 6, which was Leslie. One is close to 2. One is also close to 5 and to 3, which Mischa has. So Mischa, I'm
going to go with the one about the so there was one about the beef patties, one about the farmer. What was the other one? Not the one that Leslie chose. What was the other one?
In the desert, a donkey can hear another donkey up to 60 miles. In Ethiopia.
Okay, I'm gonna actually go with that one. 60 miles is pretty far.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I hear you, and so can the donkey, because they can really, 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 really hear a long way.
Wow.
So we have a steal opportunity here. Bummer, yeah. Well, not bummer, perhaps. For let's see, who got this question? Who's left? Who?
It's me.
David's left.
So yeah.
So it's either B or C, right?
That is correct.
And we've had a B and we've had 2 C's. All right, but that doesn't make any difference. So what are B and what are C?
B is, in Ethiopia, a common saying is, quote, a farmer without a donkey becomes a donkey. Or in C, in Peru, fast food restaurants serve patties made with donkey meat unless you specifically ask for beef.
So one of those is not true.
Correct.
All right. Oh, they both sound plausible. It could be either one. All right. So what sounds like it's not true? I mean, the saying, I think Leslie is right. The saying about a farmer without a donkey becomes a donkey. I think that's true, but you could be tricky and said it's not from Ethiopia, it's from Madagascar or something.
Or Newark, yeah, right.
Or East New Brunswick, or or it could be. So, what country is it where they serve donkeys unless you ask for beef?
Peru.
What, all of Peru, or only a certain part of Peru? How does it read?
The question is, in Peru, fast food restaurants serve patties made with donkey meat unless you specifically request beef.
You know, my brother-in-law is Peruvian. I think I'll call him.
We don't have a phone a friend thing on it. We should actually. That'd be cool.
Okay. So what's not true, or what is true?
Wait. You're looking for the false. Answer.
All right, then I'll go with the Peru. The Peru one is false.
Is that your final answer? Oh, incoming. That's terrible. Inca.
Oh, I get it.
It are 2 points for you, David Sheward. You got it. Well done.
Okay. Should I have a three-way tie?
That was C.
Yes. And I've always wanted a three-way, not quite in this fashion. Yes. And by the way, they do eat donkey meat in Peru, but the whole thing about the patties and that's just.
Well, I'll have to ask my brother-in-law the next time I see him.
So which is better, to become glue or to become lunch?
Both pretty bad. They're both pretty bad.
Both bad.
Both bad. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a sticky question though.
All right, this is the final question.
This is the final question before we get to our tiebreaker, which we may need because guess what? We have a three-way tie. So here's the deal though. This question could change everything because whoever gets this question right, if somebody does, will win the game. And then we'll do the tiebreaker anyway. And if nobody gets it right, then it will still be
nobody gets it right, then the tiebreaker will be a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So we both got 4 each, right?
Yes. 4.
Wow. When was
I know, right? I love this.
Last time that happened.
I don't think ever.
Never.
Wow. So here we go. Now, Mischa, this question goes directly to you. And guess
no
what?
pressure here.
It's another. How did you end up twice with this?
Yeah, I was just thinking that is.
Well, no,
how did I get 2 of these?
3 clues in the news. This is
okay.
Let's see if you get this one. You can write it down. 3 clues in the news. You know how it works. It's going to be word blank or blank word. I give you 3 words that are not connected to. Bye, Leslie. 3 clues that are not connected to each other, but they are connected to another word. Are you ready?
Oh, I had a fainting spell.
Oh,
ready.
Here we go. Parent, record, car. Oh boy. I'll read them again. The words are parent, record, car.
No.
All right. So Mischa, do you have any?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass it on.
Okay. I mean, or you don't even want to pick a word.
This is not my kind of.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of question is like not my kind of question. When I think back to the SATs and I think like what I had to do, things like this was just not the way my brain works. Like I can do well in a multiple choice, but I'm just thinking like this is very, very difficult for me to associate words.
Okay. Well, you can pass. I mean, you won't get any points. But
I'm thinking like parent, teacher, record breaking, car, park, like what?
And again, it would be sort of tied to something in the news. The answer would be, but not necessarily, well, not directly, but something in the news-ish. So I'll give you a chance to just say a word, or you can say MischaDani.com.
I'm going to say gefilte fish.
Whoa! No, it's not the correct answer. So we're going to roll a die, and it comes up, oh boy, let's see, number 4. David Sheward, oh my God, guess what? You could win the game if you have...
Shoot. All right.
I heard Leslie.
Because I'm not sure about this.
I didn't say anything.
I mean, it's not trap because it's not record trap or car trap. And I may be helping Leslie here. It's not jack. It's not because you can't have a jack parent or a parent jack. And it's not trans record, trans car park, parent park, record park, hit. Okay, parent, record, hit record, hit parent, hit your parent. Car hop, parent record, world's records, world's parents, car fender, car license, and what was in the news? I don't know. I can't think of it. A trap. I'll just say trap.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Well, yes, you are trapped in that answer because that is not correct. So, Leslie Hoban, like you seem sort of sanguine. Do you have?
I'm not sanguine. No. I went through all the same, or more or less the same ones that David did. I did come up with one that he didn't use, and therefore I'm going to use it, and it's used. That's the only word I can think of.
Yeah, I need a couple of used parents.
I don't know. So I'm just 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I mean, you're gonna have used records, you're gonna have used cars. So parents used, I don't know. That's it. That's the word I came up with.
Okay, well.
And it's not right.
Oh,
so you stuck this.
No, I guess it's kind of an unusual question. So you know what? No points for anybody on this, but before I just tell you the answer.
You're going to give us a hint?
Jump in, and I'm going to give you a clue.
All right.
Stephen Sondheim.
Composer?
Trap.
What does that do?
It's like a direct, I mean, it's that is a clue. It's a serious clue.
91.
Gypsy?
Divorce? His parents divorced.
Keep going, Liz.
Gypsy.
Mama Rose?
Stage.
Ah, no.
Stage parent? No. That's a good one, David.
Good one, David, but it's
overbearing. Diva.
Well, you're just going on gypsy now. I didn't say it was a gypsy thing.
Revival? I don't know.
You gotta give it, David.
Mischa, you want
to? Engine.
Leslie? You may take.
I know you gave us Sondheim, but quite honestly, that just brings in 5 billion different things, and I can't parse it out.
The answer is.
We're all gonna go. Oh, go ahead.
Door chimes, incomes.
Company. Oh, parent company. Oh.
Record company, the company car, or car company also, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wow, that was
pretty good.
That was hard.
I'm not saying that was hard. Mischa's like, oh, that was hard. Shame on you. I hate these questions. You were so eager when we started the game. Now, that son of a bitch gave me 3.
David, the game went on for 75 years.
Well, the game is still going on because guess what? It's
now
still
we have a tiebreaker for real.
Yeah.
This is the excitement here. You can just.
I've got Liza doing ring them bells. Stop ringing them bells.
Yeah. All right. Let's have the tiebreaker. Let's get to the tiebreaker.
This is exciting. This is unbelievable. So the tiebreaker, Mischa, works a little bit differently. It's still a question. It's not a multiple choice. It's a fill in. It's a write it in, and basically all 3 of you, after I read the question, will write down your answer. I'll read the question again. I'll give a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And when I hit 1, you hold up your answer to just like Leslie's doing, so that all 3 of you can answer at the same time. And then
I will now show the car and the letters. It's okay. I'm being helpful.
You didn't know this, Leslie? Or you came in just when she was answering this question. Mischa was the helper for Pat Sajak when he was doing The Odd Couple in Connecticut. This is absolutely true. Isn't this exciting? Yeah, I know. Anyway.
Can he act? Or would you rather take the fifth and not answer?
I knew that he had done Summer Stock. I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing this is recently, and he flew in.
It has to be recently. Yeah. She's a baby, of course.
The Odd Couple in Stores, Connecticut.
Something.
He was cute. He was fine. Yeah.
He was nice.
Yeah, he was nice.
Which part did he play? Oscar or
Felix? Felix?
He played the neat one.
Felix.
That's Felix.
Yeah, Felix.
Yeah.
And who was Oscar?
Joe.
Vanna White.
Joe something. Joe.
Something not famous. Joe. Yeah.
Joe something. I don't remember what his last name was.
From Saturday Night Live?
Joe Grafasi?
No, he wasn't that famous.
Oh. No, you wouldn't know his name. I remember I saw. I
10 people in the world would know Joe Grafasi, but thank you.
No. Like, yeah, this guy wasn't that famous.
So here's the question. This is the tiebreaker question. I'm figuring.
I'm ready.
Maybe all of you will get it. No offense, Mischa, but maybe 2 or 3 of you will get this. But here we go.
Don't jinx that.
We'll see. Here's the question. The play Front Porch in Flatbush served as the basis for Stephen Sondheim's first professional musical, which nearly made it to Broadway in 1955. Name that show, which did reach off-Broadway in 2000. Yeah, David got it like almost me. I think Leslie got it too.
Give them thinking music.
Thinking music. Let's see. I'll play it from a whole different show. Well, that's from. No, I was thinking of doing it from a Sondheim show, but was it? Hush now,
Play
hush,
something
wait.
From Sweetie Todd. Do something from Sweetie Todd.
Okay.
Nothing's gonna harm you.
Not while we're around. Here we go.
While we're around.
Everybody have an answer written down?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read the question again, and and then give a 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to hold up the answers. And it's perfectly fine if we have a 3-way or a 2-way tie at the end of this as well. That's all in fun. The play Front Porch in Flatbush served as the basis for Stephen Sondheim's first professional musical, which nearly made it to Broadway in 1955. Name that show, which did reach off-Broadway in 2000. 3, 2, 1. I see 1, I see 2. I can't, what is yours, Mischa? I can't, it's a heart thing with a... Oh. Stephen Sondheim, all right.
Oh, that's lovely.
What's that Y thing before? Oh, that's part of the arrow. Oh, that's so sweet, Mischa. And that is so correct, Leslie and David. The show was called, Leslie spelled it wrong, but it was Saturday night.
I didn't spell it wrong. It's an alternate spelling for the word night.
Okay, well, that's not how
I should win because I spelled it right.
No.
Let's get
acceptable.
Just call me Dr. Sue.
Yeah, right.
So here's the deal. We have a tie win between Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, which is great. Congratulations. But Mischa, my gosh, for not just for a first timer, for an any timer, you did superbly.
You did extremely well, love. Come back, please.
What can I say? I have a lot of skills in a lot of areas.
Brains and beauty. My goodness, look at that. Hey, come back and play in.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you so much for having me.
I won't be here next week, so you need somebody to sit in for me anyway if you're doing next week.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll tell. Well, as much as we love Vicky, this has been so much fun. Are you free next Saturday, Mischa? Same time.
So I may be working, but let's email back and forth, and maybe I will be able to join you. Sometimes I work Saturdays, so we will see.
Absolutely.
Oh, wait. What is it? Next weekend is the 3rd, right?
It's December 3rd. I know one of you guys
I will be up in New Haven. I will be gone for the.
Cool. So, but before we go, before I let everybody, and I'm going to stay to finish the show with a lot more stuff to come. But let's remind people, first of all, that Leslie Hoban Blake is the co-host of a show called Critics Circle, which is on YouTube. It's a video podcast with our mutual friend Charlie Gross, where you guys are, well, he's back to reviewing shows. You're not yet, but you're interviewing people. You're talking about the theater. What's the latest episode of Critics Circle?
Well, we also are on MNN, which is Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and our show for our Thanksgiving night show was an interview with Alex Rowe down at the Metropolitan, which is charming because he had already done some footage, and we were able to use his footage of like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and Mr. Rowe's neighborhood. It was really cute.
Oh, cute.
And we're very happy that he is back and open and up and running. We're happy that any small theater is back open and running. And then I'm trying to think of who the interviewer was on that program. It wasn't you, David Sheward, which you are coming back, I know. It may have, I don't know. I'm not sure who it was. I'm sorry. Just my mind's not functioning. But Charlie and I are doing In the Heights. We're doing an all you know who non-stage, but rather filmed versions of Tick Tick Boom and In the Heights.
Right.
On our next show. So
which hasn't aired yet. That'll be when you say next.
It hasn't been taped yet.
Oh, so that'll be the next one you're working on. So. And David Sheward, let's remind people that you obviously you're going to be writing a piece on Sondheim, I guess, for the David Desk.
Yes, I'm working on that.
What angle? I mean, what is there to say that I didn't even know what to tweet when I heard the news. I'm just like,
well, I thought what Mischa said was eloquent.
R.I.P.
I thought what Mischa put up was absolutely eloquent.
I'm just going to list, my impressions, my immediate impressions and my favorite, the fact that I was in the car, we were in the car listening on the way back and by coincidence, and I'm just going to list all of his shows and what I've seen of them and what I thought of them.
And that's
a
you all can stay another couple of minutes because first I want to say to Mischa, let's remind everybody to go to her website,
Danny.com.
Mischadani.com. Her full name is Mischa Dani Goodman, but the website is Mischadani.com to find out more about her film. Oh, well, David is also saying, Debbie, you're writing about some other things, but yeah.
Oh, and I have a review of Assassins on Theater Life and Cultural
Daily.
I'm hoping they offered the date. They offered January 29th, and since I'm going to be allowed to go back to the theater in February, right. I'm hoping that I can come in one night early and that they'll still give me a ticket and I can go down and see it then.
Oh, to Assassins.
I really want to see Assassins. That was on my list of 10 things I've been carrying. I've been carrying around things I wanted to see since everything went, since everything closed. These are the things. And of course I haven't seen any of them, and many of them will be closed by then. So here's Take Me Out. I mean, I really had these things all. I wanted to see all of these. So I'm just a sad lady.
Well, if you want to see Assassins a day early, Leslie, I guess you should take a shot. But
I'm going to take a shot and see if they'll give me that ticket. Right.
Anyway,
funny. Ha ha ha.
Reminder that I'm going to try and put up the once they put it up, I'll get the video of 3% for people who haven't seen my play.
Please, yes, thank you.
It's a 2-minute play. I'll get it up on Facebook, I hope, this week. But also, if you're interested in learning more about Unbridled, the movie that Mischa executive produced and starred in, that is going to be on the festival circuit as we speak.
Oh, great.
Check out Mischadani.com. But before you all go, I've got to ask, okay, if you were on a desert island, and you could take one Stephen Sondheim song or performance of a song.
Just one song?
Just one.
Oh, that's a weird thing. I guess I would take Please Hello from Pacific Overtures because it has so many different things in it, and it's got so much meat in it, and there's so much going on in it.
All right, Leslie?
And I would take Rose's Turn.
Also because it has so much going on, or what?
I always wanted to do that part, and of course that never happened. So I will take that one.
Well, you could. Yeah.
I can't remember my phone number. What are you talking about? I have that muscle memory went long ago. So
212 34594.
That's it. That's it.
And Mischa?
I honestly think, like you were talking about it earlier, but I think I would take Ladies Who Lunch. I've loved that song since I was in the 5th grade, and I definitely didn't understand it then, but I just liked the way it sounded. And then as I've gotten older, I've understood it more, and it's just a lovely song. I'd probably take that one.
Well, you guys are all absolutely lovely and such great competitors and such great friends. Mischa are now a friend of the Daverhood, which means that we will check up on you. We may have you back next week if you can make it. That'd be great. And David, Leslie, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Guys, that was lovely.
Happy
I actually have
Thanksgiving.
still some leftovers left. I made a little tiny rock Cornish hen. My sister and I had Thanksgiving, and I still have almost half of it left.
Oh, send it my way. I'll take it. Yeah.
You think it's very small, and it's not that tiny actually.
Well, cool. Guys, what I've got to do is, David started us doing this as the Moa thing, so we can let you go one by one. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you again, Dan. Thank you so much.
Like on the dating game.
Bye.
Mischa. Oh, sorry about that. It's, David, keep kissing. We'll get you out of here soon. And Leslie Hoban.
I'm left. Okay, it's like the farmer in the dell.
Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Dabs Gone By. It's a little bit after, oh my God, noon Eastern time. I should have made this like a 6-hour show because I didn't even talk about getting a COVID test. Or I forgot. I did that this week as well, which was, I can talk about that a little bit. We'll do a couple of Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We'll do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I'm glad I talked about Sondheim before because I'm talking about it now. Good God. Yeah. But I did get. I'm slotted to get the booster next weekend. I don't know how I feel about that, especially now that I will bet that I get it, and then a month later, it doesn't protect against Omicron. It's okay for Delta, or so I don't even. It's all. What do they call it? A pandemic, a big pharma thing.
It's not.
No, it's not. I know it's not. But at the same time,
I know many people who have it.
Yeah.
And the long termers and the long haulers, it's no joke. They actually. So I was talking with Mama. Her friends are all nurses.
Yeah. Some
medical centers are opening up like COVID clinics where they just treat the COVID aftermath of all the post-COVID effects on the body. So it's like a specialized clinics. Yeah.
I mean, we have the reason all this came up again is that 2 weeks ago, someone that I work with, I mentioned this last week, fairly closely, even though we're in a big room and really pretty far away from each other, 95% of the time or more. But she came down. They.
No, she or he.
Oh, come on! I'm not giving the name.
You work with one girl.
Who else knows this except people I work with? What girl I work with?
If they're listening, you say they.
They. Oh, I hate the they thing.
He or she.
It came down.
Say he or she.
It with tits.
Why don't you say like this? My coworker.
My coworker came down, even though it was double vaxxed. Table was double vaxxed. Came down with coronavirus, and got sick, but not sick. I mean, it. Worked from home. I think it took one day where it had to kind of rest up with flu-like symptoms, and then it was fine, but it wasn't allowed next to the rest of us, and has stayed home. And we will probably see it on Monday. But when I learned that it had it, it was like, okay, I better get tested. I said, oh, it. So I'm like, all right, fine, because my wife, she wanted to be in a whole other universe. Well, she didn't know. Can I call you she?
You can call me whatever you want.
When Joyce didn't know whether or not, and I didn't know whether or not I was.
You just got to the bar mitzvah with 20,000
right.
people.
This was the great joy of it. I am close to, I find out that I've been exposed, perhaps, to someone with COVID. And it turns out not to be one of like 100 people who are in these rooms during the bat mitzvah I was talking about last week. No, it's just a coworker. The bat mitzvah was nothing, no problem at all.
Mr. Peabody.
But I also want to check because I get sometimes a little bit of a headache in the evening. There are times when I'm sleeping more than I used to. Well, I'm also 57. Yeah, normal. Joyce gets mad when I need to nap in the middle of a Saturday after doing this show. Like, you should be spending time with me. I was like, I need, But, so I was a little bit like, okay, let me check. Let me get tested. And the thing that I didn't expect was I was tested just for the shits and giggles 2 or 3 months ago. just because I wanted to know. Even though I was getting the shots and everything, I wanted to know whether I had breakthrough. I wanted to know if I ever had it, because I might have had the shots. Because when we went to Aqueduct, we weren't tested before the shot. They didn't tell us whether or not we had COVID.
No, but
They just gave us the shot.
And then,
Yeah.
They took your temperature.
So weeks ago, I took the test in the place where I work, because they have once a week, they'll do it for you. And it was, it was like horrible, but it was not fun. Okay. And this was the rapid test. So they take the Q-tip and they go up into the nasal. I'm like, oh, and they go, because for some reason I'm sensitive up here. I have a reconstructed nose from having a deviated septum and cleft palate when I was born. So it's like it's going up here, and I'm like, my eyes are watering. I ended up like sneezing a couple of times after it was done. But they gave me the results in like 10 minutes, and I was fine. I was clear. So this time I go back expecting more of the same. And I get there, and they sit me down, and they ask me a question, and then they literally take the Q-tip, and they go, zoop, zoop, and then zoop, zoop. Okay, you're done. I'm like, wait, I'm done. And they said, well, you'll have your answer in 24 hours. We'll email it to you. And I had the whole thing reversed. I thought that the rapid test was the one that was really, really like quick and easy, and nobody has any pain or discomfort or boom. And then the PCR, the heavy one, is the one where they go up and they try and touch your brain just under the sinus, and they're like window washers, like. And some people are okay with it, and some people get really like it's really painful and uncomfortable. I was in the middle of that first one. At least in my case, I got it reversed. There was nothing more painless or simpler than the 24-hour PCR test. It was just like zip and please go, because I was ready to sit there for 10 minutes waiting. And they're like, no, we'll let you know in 12, which they did. And once again, old Dave tested negative for any COVID, any of the variants. There's something called MS2, which I think is a control.
No. It's when they stop scratching yourself, David. Look what you did.
What did I do?
Look on your leg. Wrong leg, other leg. Inside.
What are you
Inside the top, near your shorts.
Near my short. Oh, hello. Oh, this thing
Yeah.
has a pimple. And thanks for sharing that with everybody. So glad we shared that, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it just means that you're fine.
Yes, I am fine. I think they use that as a control. It's a viral thing called MS2. Who knows what that?
I think isn't that a street gang?
That's right. So old Dave is still healthy. Will be healthier when I get the booster. Next weekend, if I don't freak out or chicken out, which I will try not to. And there you go. I've Joyce, she had her booster a couple of weeks ago. You were sicker from the booster than you were from the other two. And I'm worried about that also, because I remember my first shot, my arm was sore as hell for like 4 days. Second shot, it was sore for about 3 days. And I didn't really get it. I think I was a little tired or maybe a little headachy, but that could have been just normal from the way I eat and stuff. But you got those, and a guy in my office, another it in my office, he took the booster, and he said that was the worst of the shots.
Yeah, for me.
He said that was the one, not just the arm, but he got,
I got sick.
yeah, he was not a happy camper. Oh joy, the things that they're doing to us that may or may not have anything to do with whether we get COVID at all.
It has everything to do with
Yeah, or how much the efficacy of the first couple of vaccines we took has waned over 6 months or so.
It's your antibodies.
I like my antibodies. How can I got probodies?
When you get the booster, you'll have more antibodies. You'll be happier.
Yeah. I don't know what they're injecting us with. We don't.
Yes, we do, David.
I don't know. I'm not like an extremist QAnon kind of person.
You're scared.
But at the same time, it's kind of interesting just how, and I guarantee you, if Omicron comes here, and it will, within 6 months, it's you need another shot.
Of course, every 6 months you'll get a booster.
That's horrifying. It's just, did I mention I'm needle phobic? not needlephobic, but really, really needle and pain averse. Because let's face it, living life in the 21st century, it is a pain averse most of the time. Anywho, shall we do a little bit of Greeley Crimes and Old Times, and then our Colorado Limerick and Friends of the Daverhood, and then we'll.
Thank goodness it's a holiday weekend because it's already 12, almost 12:30.
Oh, I remember the one question that I was gonna do. I ran out of time, of course.
Yeah.
To do a My Sick Mind segment about Stephen Sondheim.
Yes.
What is Stephen Sondheim not doing? Being alive. There you go. Thank you so much. Anywho, we're going to go to Greeley, Colorado now. A lovely town in northern Colorado.
Good segue.
Isn't it? Because here's the deal.
Seamless, honey, seamless.
In Greeley, Colorado, there's a newspaper called the Greeley Tribune that has been around in one form or another for well over 100 years. They used to call it the Greeley Tribune Republican back in the day, and the day we're talking about is 100 years ago, where currently one of our friends of the Daverhood, Mike Peters, goes into old issues of the Trib and finds the weirdest, goofiest, funniest things from a modern perspective that were in the newspaper back in 1921. We mix those up with another column in the Trib that has to do with phone calls that come into the Greeley and Weld County Police Dispatch of people who see things happening in their community, in their neighborhood, and feel that the police should be notified. This is public record, ladies and gentlemen, and some of those phone calls are interesting to say the least. We mix up the old and the new in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Yes, Greeley Crimes and Old Times, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Dave's Gone By program. So, are you ready, hon? Are you ready for some criminality?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. Our first item from the Tribune, a crime from a week or two ago, or something along those lines. A woman on 14th Avenue said her neighbor was naked and banging on her glass door while threatening to take her dogs if she didn't shut them up. How angry do you have to be that you don't even bother to put on like a robe?
I think it's good to let people know what you're working with.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You know, let people know what you're working with. I think it's good.
How come when we had two dogs and they were young and they were barking like crazy, no naked woman ever came up to my glass door?
You were the neighbor known for the man who goes to get the mail in his underpants. That's what the neighbors called you.
They were not underpants. They were boxers over my underpants. So there. Anywho, a caller on 6th Street. Oh, caller.
Oh, wait.
Hello.
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on.
Oh, the clap. Oh, there it is. Darn that AT&T. A caller on 6th Street reported a homeless encampment with signs in this homeless encampment about trespassers being killed and children of God. Now, I don't know if there should be a comma there or how. So I don't know if they're saying that trespassers should be both killed and they're children of God, or those are two separate items and themes.
I think the children of God are the authors of the note.
Oh, that could be it. That's probably it. So, kind of interesting stuff going on 6th Street. I'll call. Oh, there's another caller. Oh. Hello. A caller said her 16-year-old daughter had friends over, and they were harassing her. She also said, quote, well, all these little kids have knives.
What?
Well, I guess before they're old enough to have guns, since this is northern Colorado and everybody's got one. All the little kids, they have knives. I thought I'd take a stab at that one. Let's do some old time stuff. This is from the newspaper. 100 years ago in northern Colorado. These were items that were published real items in the paper. The Great Western Sugar Company advises all beet farmers to plow their fields now. They should bury 12 tons per acre of manure under the soil. The manure will partially decompose before spring planting and make the soil increase the beet yield. It's funny how we don't even think about that. It's like beets, carrots, all the stuff that grows under the ground, right? So much of what they're growing in the whole time is doogie, and we just like, let's give it a quick wash.
Oh no, I wash things really well.
And it's interesting, like we feel.
We don't want them to put the sticker on, right? That little sticker.
But we hate Monsanto of like pesticides, right? Oh, they're spraying these with horrible, bug-killing, bird-repelling, squirrel-repelling pesticides. And they're like, oh, get a pesticide. Blah. Oh, yeah, but it was growing in shit for 3 months. It's like, yeah, okay. Num, num, num. Well, I find that amusing. New words are appearing in public discussions now and then. For example, an old-time real estate agent is now a realtor, and the once named undertaker is now what?
A funeral home director.
Almost a mortician. So it's interesting that like 100 years ago, language was kind of changing, and realtor stayed with us. Mortician, I don't think people use anymore. Now they use funeral director, right? A Greeley man. Oh, I love this. This is like the best. This is a classic right here, from 100 years ago. A Greeley man, angry with his wife for visiting her parents without his permission, beat her with a strap. She then fled back to her parents' house, and he came after her with a club. He was stopped by his wife's father, who chased him away with an irrigation shovel. And the man is now in a city jail. Almost has like a Bugs Bunny cartoon vibe about it. He goes to beat the hell out of her. She runs away. He goes with her at a club. The guy comes back at him with a shovel. So she then go back and forth with grenades and bombs at a certain point, and an Acme anvil falling on one of them. But anyway, let's go elsewhere. Because one thing that we do on Dave's Gone By, on our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment, is that we find stories from elsewhere that aren't even from or in Colorado. Odd news, just because that's what we celebrate, odd, weird, ridiculous news. Sacramento, California. A fan had a less than memorable moment during the Sacramento Kings game on Saturday night. This is last Saturday, actually. The man was sitting courtside for the action. But what happened, dear? You want to take a guess on this one? No.
What?
This man who was literally sitting courtside, best seats in the house, like right up against the action, he became sick and and vomited across the court during the fourth quarter. Officials had to delay the game for 20 minutes. This is so beautiful. First of all, the idea of having that much throw up, just going right across the court. And the fact that it took, how much does it normally take if you have a floor? We're not talking about carpeting here. We're not talking about shag pile carpeting. The guy threw up on clean surfaced wooden basketball court. It took them 20 minutes to clean up. And I guess also they could get the guy out and see what's okay. But I love this. I love this. The King's mascot, Slamson the Lion. Where's Gritty when you need him? Slamson the Lion assisted stadium employees in the cleanup effort. Do you think when they told him, hey, you go out there, you wear a costume, you jiggle your tushy a little bit, you do some fun stuff, maybe you get to shoot T-shirts from a cannon. And by the way, if a fan vomits, you get to go help clean the throw up. But I just love the idea of Slamson pushing like a mop with these officials trying to clean up the floor. And the fan was then escorted out of his golden one-center seats. Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz, that was the team playing the Sacramento Kings, wished the fan well following the incident. Quote, "I actually made eye contact with him," said Gobert. "He was smiling and smiling and throwing up at the same time." Oh, I love it. I love it when someone tries to maintain some level of normalcy, of trying to say everything's okay. It says, "Oh wow, I watch you every day. I'm like a super fan." I go, "Yeah, no, you guys are great." Oh, can I have your autograph? Oh, why, sure, sir. Here's a. Anyway, they have footage of this, but they don't show the actual sick growing. And by the way, the Utah Jazz beat the Kings in the game, 123 to 105. Maybe, yeah. Well, no, it helped the other team. It helped the away team. Oh well. And I love Slamson the Lion.
I like that because they slam dunks.
Right? Yeah, that's brilliant. It's wonderful. Yeah. Anywho, let's do, just because that was so much fun, let's do another elsewhere item in our in our Greeley Crimes and Old Time segment. According to a spokeswoman for the Kansas City Police Department, this also happened last Saturday. A couple were driving west on East 31st Street in Kansas City last Saturday.
Oh wait, not that one.
Well, this is a horrible, horrible story. While driving, the woman ran over a bowling ball in the middle of the road. The ball got lodged underneath the car, prompting them to pull the car over. Her companion crawled below the vehicle to remove the ball. As he lay under the car, a mugger approached the woman and reached for her purse, which was on the seat next to her. As she struggled with the suspect, she pressed her foot on the gas pedal. That's when she heard a yell from under the car, which had rolled over her husband. Panicking and realizing her husband wasn't with her in the car, she stopped the vehicle.
Didn't she hear the screaming?
Yeah, she did. And so she stopped the vehicle and put the car in reverse, rolling over her husband a second time. Hearing the screaming, the suspect ran away empty-handed. The husband is in critical but stable condition, or in bowling terminology, I'm glad his life was spared.
That's horrible.
And you wonder, did they put the bowling ball in there as kind of a thing to steal the purse, or was it just an opportunistic crime of bowling? Some muggers.
It's like.
Yeah.
It's like a farce, right? It's like a farce.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get it.
Anywho, let's get back to Greeley, Colorado for a couple more crimes and old times. Listen, what we have more of. We got about the same, but we'll do another old-timey thing. Two sisters from Oklahoma have moved to Greeley, and they purchased the White Grocery at 9th Avenue and 9th Street. Their store will be named The Woman's Grocery and will sell items that appeal only to housewives. It's amazing how it's both feminist and sexist at the same time. Yeah.
Yes.
Meanwhile, a reader has sent a letter to the Trib explaining that he is, quote, a water finder.
Oh boy.
He uses a forked branch. He can't explain why it forcibly points down when he passes over water, but it does. He helps farmers find water underground. Also, he said if he attaches a piece of lead or copper to the branch, it will tilt down when passing over those minerals. You think that's like a diviner?
I don't know. I think it's probably radioactive.
That could be. Anywho, let's do another crime or two, and then we'll call it a segment, because it is a segment here on Dave's Gone By. A caller on 6th Avenue, reported a tropical bird was left outside on the porch. What makes her think it was like left there as opposed to flew there?
Maybe we had a little bow and said, please feed me.
Oh. And then the nuns took it in?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and they made it wash all the laundry?
Its last name was Bastardi.
And finally, my friends, a caller on East 24th Street reported a man acting odd and messing with something in his pocket. Something in his pocket, eh? Like LBJ used to do that a bit also. All right, that wasn't funny enough. Let's do one more Greeley crime. A caller on 12th Street.
Oh, 1 second.
There we go. A caller on 12th Street said another kid attacked her kid while they were playing. In the child's household, the caller said she had a jar of hair that the child has pulled from other kids' heads. Do you think that, like...
I think that child needs help ASAP.
You think so?
I would not want to be in a house with that child.
Because, they start with hair, and then they graduate to scalps, and actual... And then they're in Boko Haram. Yeah.
Why would you say that? I mean, there's so many problems.
Right.
So many problems.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If you collect hair, at least it won't be temporary. It's more likely to be perm. Is that a real story or is that just a sham? Pooh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that, my friends, is Greeley Crimes and Old Times for this Saturday, November 27th, 2021. Our 826th episode of the show, Dave's Gone By. Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
No, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Crimes and Old Times here on Dave's Gone By. With a bit more to do, even though it's already 12:30 in the afternoon, we have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, as well as reminding you about all the wonderful people who have been on this program in months and years past. Obviously, we have a new friend in the Daverhood, Mischa Dani Goodman. So delightful to be with us on the quiz. Did such a wonderful job acting in my short play, which of course is called 3%. You can read the play at davelefkowitz.org. And as I keep promising, by next week, I'm hoping to be able to post the play on Facebook and on davesgoneby.com. But it's Mischa Dani Goodman. Check out her website, mischadani.com. M-I-S-C-A.
Posted in the chat.
Yeah, look on Facebook. The chat is right. Click on the link.
And I posted to her seed and whatever that. What is that thing called? That I think it's done, but there's that.
What? Tell me.
Posted her thing about seedandpark.com. It's the film and the theatrical funding thing.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I want that. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted it. Yeah, but you have to accept cookies, which I do not.
Well, because you're watching your weight and cookies are, yeah. Thank you. MischaDani.com for more about her movie, Unbridled, and all the stuff that she is doing as an actress, as a film editor if you need one, as a director too, producer, hey, looking for stuff to do. Mischa Dani Goodman. Check her out. And we thank her so much for being a friend of the Daverhood now. We also thank, of course, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder, spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. To find out more about the great Rabbi Saul, go to his website, shalomdammit.com. Now, Rabbi Saul did a show off Broadway called Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon. He's got a trailer, a promo that he's put together because we're trying to get that back on stage in 2022 and then get people to go see it. So we'll raise the whole thing will start over again in 2022. But you can watch the original 2012 version, uncut with all sorts of stuff in it, at his website, shalomdammit.com. You can also go to shalomdammit.com to watch episodes of his hilarious TV show that he did for Long Island Cable TV about 12 or 13 years ago. shalomdammit.com. And you can also read his rabbinical reflections there as well. And thank you so much to David Sheward, our friend of the Daverhood. Read his blog, The David Desk, and also read his theater reviews at theaterlife.com, and culturaldaily.com. And because, all these shows have been opening up and he's been writing about them. And Leslie Hoban Blake, watch her on the YouTube channel Critics Circle with Charlie Gross. So definitely check all these from friends of the Daverhood out. Now, these are just the people who are on this episode of the show. We like to keep tabs on folks who've been on the program since the very beginning. What are they up to? They're our friends. They're our family. And thus do we call this segment the Friends of the Daverhood. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me let you know a couple of things. First of all, Eliza Gilkison, very talented singer-songwriter. She has a song called Wanderin'. It's really good. From her new album, Songs of the River Wind. She just released Wandering as a single. You can get them both from Howlin' Dog Records. Howlin' Dog Records. In wherever, records and certainly online downloads are sold. Eliza Gilkison. Gary Lucas. He is playing with his band Gods and Monsters tonight at a club called Elsewhere that's on Johnson Avenue in Brooklyn. So go see Gary Lucas, major guitarist and friend of the Daverhood. He's been on the show a couple of times, and we thank him so much, even though his casting director wife never got back to me. Oh, Gary. But go see him. He's with Gods and Monsters tonight in Brooklyn. Wow. Released today. Not today. Released December 1st is from the label Yellow Sound, an album called Sondheim Unplugged with several of our friends of the Daverhood on it. This was announced. We're planning this. Wow. So Sally Mays sings Send in the Clowns on it. Alice Ripley does The Ladies Who Lunch. Annie Golden doing Unworthy of Your Love. I believe that's from Assassins. Karen Mason doing a song from Dick Tracy called Live Alone and Like It. So, yeah, Sondheim Unplugged being released on December 1st, just a couple of days from now. Want to let you know that on December 2nd, this coming Thursday, 7 o'clock at night, go see Kimberly Faye Greenberg doing the fabulous Fanny Bryce at the Green Room 42 in Midtown Manhattan. And on Friday, the 3rd, Mike Agronoff is going to be at Troubadour's Night at the Unitarian Fellowship in Morristown, New Jersey. Oh, here we go. This get a bell ready or some noise. We have it's an Austin Pendleton alert, ladies and gentlemen, because Austin Pendleton is doing the off-Broadway show, The Dark Outside, at Theater for the New City over on First Avenue. The reviews were not wonderful, but you're going to want to check it out for yourself. The show is called The Dark Outside, featuring our friend Austin Pendleton, running today and tomorrow only at Theater for the New City. Sidney Meyer, he is playing on Monday night at Pangea. So Sidney, he is the booker for Don't Tell Mama, but his side gig is doing his own cabaret show of songs and comedy. Sidney Meyer at Pangea on Monday night. He had been playing every Monday night in November. On Saturday nights, now through even into December, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano at Birdland. On video, digital, you can watch the digital theatrical musical movie Estella Scrooge. It's on Broadway on demand, and it features our friend Danny Burston, Estella. He doesn't play Estella Scrooge. That's by, what's her name? Betsy Wolfe is the lead actress there. Willard Manis's radio-style play is a play in person, but they're doing it radio-style in California at the Brick House Theater. The play is called A Journal of the Plague Year. Right Act Repertory is doing it now through the middle of December. Gabriel Barry is directing Turtle on a Fence Post, which I think they curtailed the run of that. It was going to run through early January. It may have ended last week, or it may end this week or in a week or two. Check your Google, but it's A Turtle on a Fence Post off Broadway at Theater 555. Now through early January, you can see the play A Sherlock Carol, which is produced by our friend Ray Bahour at New World Stages off Broadway. And then we move to a bunch of Broadway shows. LaChanze is in Trouble in Mind at the American Airlines Theater. Deacon Matthews is in Waitress at the Barrymore. Stuart Zagnit in Caroline or Change at Studio 54. Danny Burston in Moulin Rouge at the Hirschfeld. And Aladdin, co-written by Alan Menken, at the New Amsterdam Theater. And J.O. Sanders in Girl from the North Country at the Belasco Theater on Broadway. And off-Broadway, go see Tammany Hall at the Soho Playhouse. It is co-created by the guy who runs Soho Playhouse, our friend Darren Lee Cole. Every Monday night at Birdland, it's Jim Caruso's Cast Party. Find out more at birdlandjazz.com. Evan Seplow is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com. Dr. Demento has archived all his old shows and keeps making new. He's 80 years old, and he's still doing the Dr. Demento show every week, drdemento.com. Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. Soundsofbroadway.com, a 24-hour show tune internet channel run by our friend Stuart Brown. And yes, today, last night into today, and all day today, Sondheim music on soundsofbroadway.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is 20 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time in the Daverhood on this 826th episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz. Got to give a shout out to our friends at Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway. Not going to do a pitch for them, not going to do an advertisement, not allowed. Can't put it on Cablevision, can't put it on Facebook. Well, no, I think it's just the Cablevision issue. But I'm just saying, I've known the family that owns Hewlett Minuteman Press for about 30 years now, have been using their services for a whole bunch of things. You might want to consider doing so as well. Hewlett Minuteman Press. Okay. Anywho, are we finished? Are we done with the show? Is it time for lunch?
The thing of the damned. The Limerick of the damned.
How could I forget?
I don't think you did. I think you're cueing me.
Yes, of course I'm cueing. Yeah. You can read it. You know, we're married long enough. You know when I'm going like, aren't we finished? Are we not finished with the show?
How cute doing that.
I actually used to have a great English teacher. My 12th grade English teacher in high school had, it was either Parkinson's or some kind of palsy, so her head was always sort of going like this. It was like watching a bobblehead, but she was, you know, strict teacher, but she was really, really good. But anyway, yes, it is time for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Now, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, as the title would suggest, is a short poem, 5 lines, about a place in Colorado. Could be a big city, a town, a tiny little hickburg with barely a post office and a gas station. Doesn't matter. If I saw it on the map and I thought I could write a disgusting poem about it, I set about doing so. So this time, we're going to Glendevey, Colorado. Yes, there's a place called Glendevey, Colorado. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then I'm going to read a horrible poem about it. Glendevey.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
The voice there of Christine Lavin, our guest just a week ago in the Daverhood. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Glendevey, Colorado, which is a remote, unincorporated town by the Laramie River. It does ranching. You go there for ranching and snowshoeing, snowmobiling, backcountry skiing, ice climbing.
Which town? Say it again.
It's called Glendevey. 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 You can also go sleigh riding, so it's a perfect kind of winter sporting town.
Sounds very pretty.
So, and it's in far northern Colorado. Well, yeah, skiing, snowshoeing. I know about, yes, skiing, definitely. Backcountry skiing. So I guess that's where you go, like, over a frozen
That's where
woods.
you go, there's an avalanche.
That's right. I was front country, then the snowball came at me, and now I'm backcountry. But Glendevey is in far northern Colorado, not that far from Fort Collins, near the Wyoming border.
Interesting.
So, hey, maybe Wendy and Fred will be driving past Glendevey.
I think they're still in probably Wyoming trying to get out of Little America.
Probably, yeah. Well, anyway, Glendevey is still such a little, it's a tourist place, but still so unknown and so kind of remote-ish that it doesn't even have its own wiki page. You can have to find other information about it. But now we're going to put Glendevey truly on the map with a horrible poem about it. Let's see, is this really bad? Yeah. The kids can stay in the room. It'll go over their heads if they're short. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Glendevey. A girl that I know in Glendevey has gotten so sloppy and heavy, the last time we met and started to pet, she broke the back seat of my Chevy. Well, that is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for this Saturday, November 27th, 2021. If you want to complain, and why wouldn't you, remember you can email me, davesgoneby@aol.com, davesgoneby@aol.com, or feel free to post right here on our Facebook page. Or if you're a Facebook friend, you can certainly message me directly. I read everything I get. I don't always have time to write back, but I love hearing from you, your thoughts, your comments. Don't really love hearing the complaints, but if you got them,
Here, you want to share the
send them
card?
my way.
Share the card for today. This is from our friend Diana.
Our friend at the local library let Joyce, not even borrow, but keep this pack of cards called The Universe, what is it?
Universe Has Your Back.
The Universe Has Your Back.
By
So every day.
Bernstein.
What was that? Oh,
Gabrielle Bernstein.
Gabrielle Bernstein, Jewish person. Here we go. So she came up with these cards, and you pick one a day. They're kind of affirmation-y things. Hopefully not tarot things. And this is nice. This is sweet. This is The Universe Has... Oh, it's the name of the card. It's the actual card for the deck. The Universe Has My Back. And Joyce is one of her favorite animals. I don't know if it's her spirit animal. Is an owl. And and this is not a knock, but it kind of has her face a little bit. Look at the hair, the face. You do have sort of that owly look there. Oh yeah, there you go. I see I'm staring up at Joyce and I see her nose goblins. They're cool.
Really?
No, but I'm just saying.
It's not nose goblins. It's I put cream on myself because I'm wrinkly, so that's my wrinkle.
See that you should let me put cream on you, particularly your nipples, because I'm Mr. Nipples now.
There's nothing in there.
No, I'm kidding.
Now I gotta clean it.
You're fine. It's hairs. We got them. They're nose things.
Complex.
So, now Joyce is taking a Q-tip and doing her own PCR test. Anywho, It is 10 to 1. It's time to go. So thank you. I've thanked so many people.
Yeah, wonderful guests.
Mischa,
really well.
David, Rabbi Saul, Leslie Blake, Joyce, of course.
Leslie Hoban Blake.
Hoban Blake.
Yeah.
Did I say everybody? I think I said everybody. And thank you most of all to all of you watching. Yeah. For those of you who tell other
Vicky.
people.
So Vicky's the unguessed guest. Vicky played along. She was encouraging Leslie. She also wrote that she's happy you used her circle technique and that she congratulated all the winners.
What a great sport. Vicky, thank you. Maybe I hate to leave you in limbo, but we might need your services next time.
It seemed like she was doing something. She had something.
Yeah, she didn't want to be. I can't.
Working. Yeah, she said.
I can't. I hate you. You made me listen to things about nipples. She was just like, no. She was maybe.
She's gonna earn a living.
But I know that Leslie won't be with us, alas, next week. But David will, I will, and we'll be doing a show next Saturday, December 3rd, with the it's falling, it's all falling. Oh no! The 827th episode of the program, Dave's Gone By. So yeah, be tuned in, tell everyone, find out more about the show at davesgoneby.com, and also the Facebook page will let you know what we're doing next week. And what else? And read my poetry, and well, not much poetry.
Do anything like write any reflections about Sondheim too?
I don't know. I honestly don't know if I'll do anything or if I've expelled anything I needed to here on this particular program. It's just,
well, like do something like I like David's idea of going through all the shows and doing your reflections. I think because you worked at the other evil empire.
But I never interviewed him. I never got to. I've met him. I think
but
just
went to
passing.
Shows,
Oh, of course, I've seen probably a dozen Sondheim shows over the years on Broadway, off Broadway, and had revelatory moments in all of them.
I think you should share that.
All right, we'll see.
I think it's nice that people share the letters he wrote them, but that's more about them than him. It's like, I knew Sondheim.
Yeah.
I think you should, your reflections are your own too, but I think you should remember all the things he gave people and encourage, why don't you encourage people like the essential Sondheim and tell people what to...
Because there's 5 dozen other people doing that.
NPR's done it, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
What about the lesser known things that really spoke to you?
Yeah. Actually, usually the most known things have spoken to me of his. But one thing people didn't mention is that he was a big supporter of the Young Playwrights Festival when that was happening years and years ago.
Was he at the O'Neill or no?
I don't know if he ever went to the O'Neill. I don't know if he ever workshopped stuff there. But his spirit was out there. His spirit hovers everywhere over the American theater. So here's the deal. If I were on terrestrial radio, as I said, I would just be sitting there for hours and hours playing Sondheim songs, just from all his different musicals, and especially particularly the songs that I love most. I was and here's the first act of Sunday in the Park with George. Just let that play, and then come back and play things from Pacific Overtures, and play something from West Side Story, and Funny Thing Happened on the Way Before Him, which already wasn't even Tony nominated for that, has some of the greatest lyrics ever written, and Follies, and Sweeney Todd, which is an extraordinary work of genius, maybe the greatest modern American opera. It's just one after another, after another, after another. Company, of course, one of the greatest, if not the greatest cast album of all time. So I would be playing all these things, right? And that's how I would remember him, and share and laugh and cry and ask people for their memories and stuff. Well, I can't do that because of rules on Facebook and on whatever. So I'll ask you to imagine and remember your own favorite Sondheim show or cast recording or song. And I'm not going to play our outro music, and I'm not going to play any Sondheim music. We're just going to go out in silence because, Stephen Sondheim's gone and gone by.